on YouTube, guys. Get this thing rolling on YouTube. Shout out to all my people over there on YouTube. We on X as well, too, guys. We're talking about, is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant in 2024? That is the actual topic of the night, and I definitely want to hear what everybody's got to say. Hopefully, we will get a bunch of supporters of ADOS to come out and, give us the finer points and everything that they believe that ADOS is still doing today. Also, I'm sure there are going to be people that's going to be, I don't want to say detractors, or people that may be critical of ADOS and the way maybe things have been handled lately. I know Yvette has blocked a whole lot of people on social media. I believe Tone has blocked a bunch of people as well too on social media. I never had any interaction with them, and they blocked me. So, I've never written a post about them, anything like that or whatever. So, but they blocked me. But a lot of people, they give ADOS its due for bringing people into a certain number of people into the light about reparations and stuff. They stood up and they talked about it. And a lot of people that's in the reparation movement today, they said they first got their education through reparations, through ADOS as well too. So, that's something to always look at as well too. So, Yvette, she's been around for a minute. I believe Yvette has I believe she has a political background as well too. I'm not entirely sure, but what's up, Professor? I see you up in here as well too.
Hey, what up?
What's going on? What's going on? And like I say, this should make for an interesting discussion tonight, guys. I definitely want to hear what everybody's got to say. I want to hear what the sisters got to say. I want to hear what the fellas got to say. I want to hear what people that's pro-reparations got to say. I want to hear what the people in X, the people on YouTube. I want to get everybody's opinion and perspective exactly on ADOS. Can ADOS rebrand itself as well too? Because 4-5 years ago, ADOS was flying pretty high and everything else as well too. You don't hear about ADOS talked about the way it used to be talked about, but that's another thing. Like I say, I want to know, is it time for them to rebrand the actual name? I know a lot of things with ADOS was that you had some people that was confused that said ADOS is a lineage, and other people said ADOS was an actual group as well too. So it's going to be interesting to hear that. DJ, what's up? I saw you was coming off the mic. You want to go ahead and add something?
Nah, I'm good right now. I was just trying to make sure this thing worked. Go ahead, though.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to the room. Newstoter By. It's good.
All right. And like I say, shout out to all you guys up in here as well too. Shout out to you as well. Professor Alon, I know you had came up here earlier. You and Ricky, did you guys want to say something to get the conversation started on your thoughts about ADOS and 2024, Yvette Carnell? Are they still relevant? What do you think? Okay, Professor's disconnecting, so we must have lost him. Ricky, what about you? Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Hey, what's going on with you?
How are you, brother?
Pretty good.
Loving this discussion. So, is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant in 2024? Things are way different than they were in the heyday. Leading up to 2020, you basically had 2016 being blamed on black voters not backing Hillary. You had the FBI and everybody out come say, these people are Russian bots. These people are not real people, half the time they were saying. And there was a lot of discussion. And I believe we really had Dems on the ropes, really had them scared. And there was a real threat. And that's what the reparations movement came from. It came from that threat that if you don't back us on this issue, then we're going to cost you this election and you're really scared of Donald Trump. After that, Biden won. No real threat after that. Then you have all these defections and all the things that happened that made the movement fracture further. But in 2024, the original org and the original people like Yvette and them, like you said, everybody's blocked. And you have all these other splinter movements, and there's no unity. And certain people like Darity, he called it out early, there was too much beefing and too much back and forth and too much pettiness. And that's how that fell apart. And think about how important this is. This is the first black political movement that was about making a demand, right? Obama was not a movement. That was just a man. There was no policy in it for us. And to watch the whole thing fall apart and where we are now is still relevant because we're still having a reparations conversation, but there's no unity and there's no real path forward. So relevant, but nothing like 2020. I'll start with that.
All right. Appreciate that, Ricky. Appreciate that. Professor, I know you were up here and you disconnected. Did you want to go ahead and get something in, get it in right now?
Yeah, my connection got lost. What was the question that you had?
Okay. You're a little bit muffled. Can you are you on a headset, anything? Yeah, because we can't hardly hear you. Give Professor a chance, and then we're going to go ahead and go back to him. He may have.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you much better. Yeah, the question was just basically, about the relevancy of ADOS and Yvette Carnell. Are they still relevant today in 2024? Just give me your opinion about that. How you feel about them and the relevancy and everything. Maybe their part to play in the movement as well too.
Oh yeah, initially that was the the first group of his like that I was kind of like, I wasn't following them, but I would listen to what they had to say, and it was very interesting. However, what lost my interest was the organizational structure. It started to kind of look like a hierarchy, you know what I'm saying? And so the organizational structure was kind of confusing me. I'm gonna speak a little codified. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but it started to look like they were trying to Trojan horse. I'm down for foundational Black Americans, like for my people. But I started to see, what agenda? It kind of looked like some other agendas were kind of slipping in there. So I lost interest. I couldn't really tell. I got the sense that I really couldn't tell what they were really about. So yeah. So I kind of lost interest in it. I was on Tone Talks one time. I called and I was on Tone Talks. Like, this is early on. Like, when I was listening to, ADOS, that's interesting. It was like kind of, I never really heard anything like that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I was on Tone Talks one time. We were talking about an issue, and Tone brought up something. Antonio Moore brought up some issue that I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm almost a subject matter expert on the issue. And so I called up to give him some insight, give the caller some insight. And I brought up I have my evidence. I usually bring receipts. I try to stay away from opinion. I back my opinions up. And I had this clear-cut evidence from Dr. Claude Anderson of an actual occurrence. The occurrence was the edict of the Maryland edict that codified Black people into slavery. Basically, early on in America, we had a chance of being. America was egalitarian, as I put in my book, but we had a chance of being egalitarian. But the state of Maryland was like, nah. It made an edict that said Black people can never, and I'm paraphrasing, but never enjoy the fruits of the land. And I brought that up, and I said Dr. Claude Anderson, and like Tone turned on me. I didn't understand it. It was like, oh no, how you gonna bring him up? Blah 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 blah. I'm paraphrasing Tone, but and I started getting cussed out by his friends and stuff, and that kind of got my attention. I'm like, wait a minute, Dr. Claude Anderson is one of our elders. He's a scholar. He's reputable. Like, I didn't say it in the space, but that kind of got my attention. I'm like, why would y'all cuss me out? Like, Tone didn't cuss me out. One of his friends did. And Tone would express disdain, and it kind of red flagged me. I was like, how could you express disdain over Dr. Claude Anderson? Dr. Claude Anderson has given his life to us. Like, I couldn't understand it, but from that point, it started to fall apart. I actually blocked Yvette because she kept sending out these newsletters or something. I blocked her. Like, I don't even want to know what they're talking about. But that's where I stand.
Appreciate that, Professor. And I know it was an issue with I don't really know how the issue started with Vet and her issue that she had with Dr. Claude Anderson, but I think a lot of people that rubbed them the wrong way, like you saying, Professor, like when this issue with Dr. Claude Anderson happened or whatever, I think a certain number of people, felt a certain way about it and kind of maybe fell out of favor with her over that as well too. So thank you, Professor. Let me go ahead and get to my girl Aunt Lai. Aunt Lai, what's going on with you tonight? Aunt Lai, you there?
Peace, Black Power, and reparations. I'm here. I have a quick question, and I just want some clarification. Explain what you mean by is it relevant? Like, get some history on, like, because I don't know. I don't want to say I don't know who she is. DJ told me who she is, but I don't understand. The question is that is meant by is she relevant? Like, what relevant? Is reparations relevant?
Is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant? Well, Aunt Lai, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna slide you a little bit back, and then we'll come back to you. Let me go ahead and get to maybe Smooth and Quadil can kind of explain it a little bit more, and then you can go ahead and you can come back. So I'm gonna get right back to you, Aunt Lai. Smooth, how you doing? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's happening, bro? So
What's up now?
Yeah, I don't think she's relevant. In fact, I don't think she never was. I think she went against the culture, man. You know what I mean? With the disrespect of Francis Cress Wilson, the disrespect of brothers like Nellie Fuller and all the elders. And the whole thing she tried to push, man, if you look back at it, it's like some LGBT stuff. They telling you to vote Democrats. It was just, man, it wasn't grassroots, bro. You know what I mean? It was like a made-up code. And you see her going through what she go through and how she moves. She's blocking everybody from their opinions. She don't want to be challenged. In fact, she's scared to challenge anybody else to their opinion because she knows she can't back what she say. And it's just, hey, man, that was never going to make it. She's trying to be the leader of, she's one of these people that want to be the leader of reparations, the leader of this. I want to say, I did this for everybody. I'm your mama, I'm your dad. That's why I call her Strappy, and I call the other guy Tone Tits. That's just me.
All right, appreciate that. Smooth, let me ask you a question real quick. Is there anything in terms of what she and Tone did that you felt was positive, that was a major step forward for Black people, in the reparations quest?
Well, when they first started off, I thought they was going somewhere with it. You know what I mean? Then I started hearing what they was talking about. And it just, man, and it makes sense. And then I found out they stole the name from Dr. I don't think his name is Sheldon Norris or something like that. They stole the name. So it's all, man, like, man, it started off, and then my thing is once I hear a person disrespect my elders and stuff like that, man, she's wearing these fucking jeans.
Hey, try not to curse. Try not to curse, but go ahead.
She wearing these jeans and button-ups, so she basically standing for the LGBTQ. And it ain't nothing wrong with that, but she standing for a different cause, right? You look at how she moved, the control, and how they move, it's a different cause. I'm standing for Black people. I'm standing for culture. I'm standing for the neighborhood. I ain't standing for no Black.
All right, appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Quadir. I'm gonna get to Just Cakes, and then I'll come back to you, Aunt Lai, and see if maybe you have maybe a feel for the conversation. Quadir, what's going on with you, man? How you doing tonight?
Yo, what's up, Toter? I'm doing good. How's everybody doing?
Good, we're doing good.
Bro, what up? What's up? Is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant today in 2024? I would say no to that. However, I will say when I first entered, the reparations rooms and looking for a lot of like-minded people online. When I first heard them, I did think that her and Tone were positive in the beginning. However, as time went on, and you see people call out their BS. Their disrespect for Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, them stealing the name and not paying homage to where they got the name from, and weird individuals at their events, that really lost me. That's what really turned me off from them. And the icing on the cake the nail on the coffin for me with them is when they started doing some double speak with the ADOS movement. I mean, at first they were saying they're just a lineage. Then they started saying they were an organization. Once they started doing that, once they did that, I was like, I was completely turned off, and I just completely threw them to the wayside. Never listened to them again on anything. No, and I yield the mic.
Appreciate that, Quadi. Let me ask you real quick, because I know we have a lot of people that do the reparation rallies and everything else like that. Has ADOS have they had any like major reparation rally? Does anybody know for certain?
I cannot answer that. Like I said, once they start talking that nonsense of them being an organization, they actually have leaders. I kid you not, I haven't kept up with anything from them at all. Like I know the Freedmen would do their thing. Maybe some other groups would do their thing. As far as ADOS, I kid you not, I can't tell you anything. I am not up to date on any of the activities that they have going on.
All right. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Jess Cakes. Jess Cakes, how you doing tonight, sweetie?
Hey, I'm okay. Enjoying the good weather we got for right now. They did, ADOS had a reparations rally. It was a few years ago, back when FBA had their reparations rally. So that's when they had the weird white man on the stage that nobody knew who he was. But yeah, they actually did have at least one rally that I know of. As far as the topic of discussion, as far as Yvette Carnell and ADOS. Look, if it's not the baby, it's the dog, okay?
I was wondering, what was that noise?
Hold on 1 second, I get the dog.
The dog we got a dog. He got him a dog toy or something?
Yeah, we're in the backyard and she going crazy with this. Let me see it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So anyway, ADOS and Yvette Carnell, as far as the group, the whatever type of club she got going on, as far as with that name, I don't think it's relevant. But as far as I think Yvette's issue is she want all the credit. I think for Black people, we're not gonna have a Messiah that's gonna save us all. It's gonna be a group effort that's gonna get us together. You know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna be just one person that's gonna be the savior of Black people. And I think that Messiah complex is what really doomed her, along with the absolute disrespect for Dr. Claude Anderson and Francis Cress Wilson. You don't get no points for that, you know. So that's what really turned me off. And then the fact of when you start competing with lineages, like gang banging, like Crips and Bloods, like at the end of the day, we got the same goal. When you trying to get to the next level, you're going to need your scholars, you're going to need your economists, you're going to need your people that's out there for the media purposes. Everybody got a job. And she want to be everything in one thing, it's not going to work. And the fact that, like he said, I'm your mom, I'm your daddy, I'm the old girl with the chopper suit, it's just not going to work. I will say for one thing, as far as the LBGT, one thing her messaging has been consistent on as far as the lineage portion of it is I've never heard her put her sexuality above her race. I've never heard it. So I will be honest as far as that. Me, myself, I've never heard her do that. But as far as the way she go about things, the way she move and stuff like that, there's no I am saying that all we got is each other. So I'll land it right there for now.
All right. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. And hopefully we got some of our ADOS people up in it, because I know we got a bunch of ADOS people that be up on the platform as well too. So hopefully we can get some of y'all to come in here and, you know, express how you feel about Yvette as well, and ADOS as well too. That's really what it's about. So I want to hear what you guys got to say. Hopefully we can get some of y'all to come up here and give us a difference of opinion. I would love to hear that as well too. So let me go ahead and get to Sister Sean. Sister Sean, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Newstoter. I got a shout out to Just Case. Hey, baby Case. Ain't talked to you in a while, but this is a wonderful question, and I've been really waiting to kind of weigh in on this. And here's my position. And I'm gonna take it way back for y'all. I was supporting Yvette Carnell way back when she was breaking Brown. That was her brand. And I literally, she worked underground here in Washington, D.C. with the conscious community in our radio station. So I knew her before she even became like an internet like sensation, right? And always on, I literally, in my money found every month.
You breaking up, Sister Sean.
Okay. I consistently contributed all the way for about almost 2 years before YouTube was even a YouTube. So I knew Yvette Carnell, and at least her projection, who she represented before she even became like this YouTube sensation. Okay. So here's what I have to say about that. Breaking Brown is who I know. I know her before she even became what you guys know. Okay. Brilliant woman. But here's the mistake. Let's just get to ADOS. So she manifested herself from Breaking Brown to this ADOS platform, which was also something that I respected and was brilliant. But her mistake was very similar to what Just Case did. Sometimes in this community, there's something called respect. I will give her the credit that she is the one that put Lineage Base out there. She was the first one out front on that, and we cannot take that from her. And she helped elevate the question of reparations. There's nobody that's going to tell me that anybody else did that because she did it. But her mistake was that she stepped on toes. She sat there and she disrespected the elders. And she came from a conscious community from Baker Brown. And her biggest mistake was when she disrespected Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and criticized her on her death. And then she criticized Farrakhan. She criticized Dr. Claude Anderson. And she got egotistic. So she had something that could have been great, but what she did was, because of what I say, she shot herself in the foot because of egotisticness or whatever it was, not understanding the power of the message and taking the message as personal and taking it and sharing it and elevating it. Now it's to you guys. So now you guys know, where we only had that message on the underground. So that was her mistake. And I think she's trying to rebrand herself. I don't think she's finished yet. I think she learned some lessons, because organizations is key. I think we see this. We're fragmented all over the place. We don't have one organization to come and fight for us. That's why we have all of these different fights. We've got the Freedmen's Bureau. That's why it's so important to have a Freedmen's Bureau. So that's Five Fingers becoming a fist. And we need that to be able to impact this monster, this beast that we're dealing with. So she's kind of out there on a satellite, but she lost her fizzle. She lost her fizzle, and it was all self-inflicted. Nobody ever cared about her sexuality. That was never even in the conversation. People dealt with her mom. But something happened. And I think egos took root, and she didn't understand the end game, which is for the people. But I will never not give her props, because she put lineage-based reparations on the map, and reparations on the map in general. And she's still out there, but she's just out there like a satellite. Nobody is supporting her. But she's going on the right track because you need an organization. Nothing is going to happen without an organization, folks. I don't care how much we bitch and complain on Twitter and whatever, but if we don't, I go out there doing my little individual thing. And New Negro, he was out there April 15th, he lobbied Congress. But we're just out here as like these little satellites, right? But we're not out here as a universe. It will never happen unless we're a universe. So I wouldn't count her out. What I would love to see is all of us to get, just get past the bullshit and understand politics.
Language, but go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So I think that we have matured in conversations, and we understand what it's going to take. The only thing it's going to take is that we're going to have to unify. All these groups are going to have to unify to go against this machine. And that's the only thing that I have to really contribute to the conversation. I don't see it happen in individual pilots, satellites here, there, little fingers here. No, 5 fingers make a fist. That's the fundamental thing that we have to understand. But yeah, shout out to ADOS. Shout out to Yvette Carnell. I'm not going to drag her. She's brilliant, but she took a wrong turn. She shot herself in the foot. She needs to rebrand herself. She needs to be humble, and she needs to get off the ego. She needs to get on unity, and she needs to combine with FBA. She needs to combine with the freedmen. There are differences of opinion, and fortify your organization. She's doing the right thing. She learned a lesson. She didn't have an organization. All she had was a YouTube channel. So she's learning. I can see that. But you need to fortify it. You just can't be out there on your own against this machine. So that's like my little wish list. And I'll fold my chair.
All right. Thank you, Sister Sean. Let me read a couple comments real quick. American Lady said, I guess, and this wasn't for you, Sister Sean. This is for other people in the space. I guess she said these people don't know what they're talking about. I believe her name is Lyric. I'm going to just call you Lyric. Said exactly. It's going to take all of us. Clear T says, facts, we need organization. Nightfall says, sorry, Yvette dug her own grave when she came at Tariq. And the new black media's pivot away from ADOS to the FBA movement. It took less than a month for the new black media to destroy her democratic grift. So, we have a difference of opinions and stuff on there, which is fine or whatever. And I think American Lady said these folks are crying about the analysis and critiques of our past mistakes. Lyric says, I think she is still relevant regardless of how others feel about her personally. So, we have a difference of opinions. And like I said, I'm glad that you came up here and you gave a well-detailed, you point out the things that she did successfully. And you also point out things that you felt she needs to work on and maybe mistakes that she made as well, too. The rebrand, that'll be interesting to see exactly how that takes place as well, too. If that's possible, if she can actually rebrand it. The point of her working with that would be interesting to see. I don't know if she's willing to work with FBA and the freedmen as well too, especially FBA. I don't know if she's willing, with everything over the years. I know her and Tariq, they was going at it and Tone as well too. So I don't know if that's not to say it's impossible, but I don't know how eager she would be to actually connect with them on that level. So very, very interesting to see as well too. Let me go ahead and Lyric says, personally speaking, it would be better to interview her on your broadcast instead of gossiping about her. I don't know what you're talking about, sweetie, because I had nobody's gossip about her. People are entitled to opinion. So, and not only that, like people said, it's kind of hard to interview somebody when she blocks everybody else as well, too. So, I mean, just like you have your opinion, people in here have their opinion as well, too. Let me go ahead and get to Smooth. Smooth, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on some Sister Sean said, but before I touch on that, I want to state this. I say it a lot of times, and I believe other brothers and sisters have said it too. When it comes to the term FBA, it is not an organization, it is not a clique, and it's not a group of people. It's just a lineage. So regardless, so I'm gonna do work with a lot of brothers and sisters who do got an organization. Yeah, you can thumb down, but I'm stating what's been said. I'm stating what people have been said. FBA is not a group. It's not an organization. It's just a lineage. No different from Black America. You can say Black America. You can say FBA. You can say the foundation. I don't understand why people get mad when Black people say they're the foundation or something, which is weird because we are.
You done? Smooth? You kind of ended abruptly. Are you done? Okay, I guess.
No, I'm back. I'm back to my call. But we y'all heard Brother Tariq stated, other people, brothers and sisters have stated, and I just want to leave it at that. So any brothers and sisters willing to do the work, I will work with. You know what I mean? I don't deal with organizations. No shots at anybody to do organizations, but if you check the history, if you check the past, organizations, man, they done put all kind of agents and really William O'Neill's in them type of situations. Shut our people down and put our people in bad situations. So what I tend to do is learn from the mistakes and not make the same mistakes. And it's going to take an effort from every brother and sisters who are Black American, who stand in their lineage. We don't got to let these people know our business, but behind closed doors. And if you outside for real stumping, you will know who to rock with, who to work with in the situations. We got community centers, different places. If we get anything building, if you get anything popping, you don't need an organization for that. You just need a group of people who really put a good effort and pass it down. But my thing, I wanted to touch on something Sister Sean said when it comes to Yvette Carnell. One thing, she didn't start the reparations thing. I do give her respect. She pushed it, but my thing, how she dissing Dr. Claude Anderson? That's the first person I heard talking about reparations, and I brother put in a lot of work. If I heard diss him like that, I'm like, what work did she put in? Because if you come for somebody, okay, what you got? You know what I mean? And let's keep it real. Everybody ain't willing to put in the time like the brothers and sisters did back in the 70s and 60s, like my Panthers brothers. You still got brothers locked up right now. Ain't nobody trying to get out. Ain't nobody willing to be public enemy number one. Ain't nobody willing to be the king of reparations and all that when it comes to facing the white supremacists and being put in those certain situations. That's where you get tell who real and who's not. You know what I mean? So that's my problem with her. She sit there and she want to act like she the king of this, the king of that. But when it get real and our fire start heating up, I don't think she gonna stand out, bro. I really don't. And it's a lot of other people who ain't gonna stand out. You know, and there'd be a lot of people just talking and stuff. They want the spotlight. They want to say they doing this. They want to say they doing that. But once no fans get aboard and stuff like that, they sing a whole other tone. That's it.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. It'd be interesting because I see we got a couple of our Freedman brothers up in here. Shout out to Naheem and Prime as well too. And exactly as Sean was saying that how a potential link up between ADOS, Freedman, FBA, if that's something possible that they believe could be something that could potentially happen one day. So I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but if you guys get a chance, I would love to hear your opinion on that as well too. So let me go ahead and kick it to DJ. Go ahead. I know you got your hand up. You want to say something?
Nah, let the other folks that got their hands up or came up on the stage speak. But I definitely got something to say from what I heard so far.
Go ahead, Ricky. You got it.
All right. Claude Anderson, great man. He's done a lot for Black people. Black Labor, White Wealth, great book. But there is no reparations movement without what Yvette and Tone did 2016, 2017. We got to acknowledge that. You can't say, oh, well, yeah, somebody else was doing this. There was no movement when Obama was president. There was no movement where people said specific Black Americans, you're going to do for us. That didn't exist before that politically, before ADOS, right? The splinter groups, all of these damn splinter groups. All the bad stuff that, that whatever happened with the war, the other groups are all worse. It only gets worse. We got to repair this. We got to put our heads together as best we can and focus on policy. Most people are not doing policy. A lot of people in this will admit they don't even vote and they never voted and they don't care about issues. Just give them money and all this other stuff. And then they're talking about immigration all day. They're unserious. If we're going to do this, people got to figure out a way to this is the candidate, these are the candidates. You have Cornel West running. Nobody has anything positive to really say about him. You're obviously not serious about reparations if you never deal with the reparations candidates. And forget the splinter groups. We got to build something better from the ground up. Landed.
All right. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you. Aunt La, I know you wanted to speak earlier. Do you want to wait, or you good at saying something now?
No, I'm just trying to understand it all.
Okay, well, just chill and chill, and we'll get back with you then. Let me go ahead and get to Hazardous. Hazardous, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, what's going on, family?
What's going on now?
Oh man, you know I gotta tap in with y'all. Okay. Now, okay, the ADOS movement, he right. I gotta be honest. He is 100% right. That was like the launch pad off, but it was the torrent was once they started saying it's an organization, it got really confusing. And I backed away from it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm cool. It's leaders and all that. Every time it's a leader and it's not like the best thing we got going for us is our common understanding of the way we are. That's why when foreigners come here, we have a different understanding. It's something innately inside of us. And that's how we win. So when you start making an organization that's a head, it's a leader, and then people are not really built to be the leader, just let the code be the leader. So once the code is the leader, it's an understanding. You already know when you off code. You don't need nobody to tell you, hey, you off code. So to that, bro, yes, I do agree that was a spark of the movement. Other people helped promote it, but yes, that was, I got a lot of people involved. We do got to look at policies. That's 100%. A lot of people don't vote, but I don't like when we do this blanket term of, oh, you didn't vote, you don't got a right to say nothing. No, part of the voting thing is not to vote. So you don't got to vote all the time. Like, we got to stop doing that. That's like pure ignorance. Like sometimes, and I don't mean to say that, that's messed up, but it came from my heart. Though. So sometimes you just got to, you don't have to vote. And that is a protest vote, is what it's called. And that is your right to. Because before, if you remember, our ancestors couldn't vote at all, so they couldn't protest it one way or another. But since we're involved in the system, let's be involved in the system. And us not voting is part of the system. So we can't just be looking at it like that. Now, everybody working together, I would love a kumbaya. I really would. We still got people still saying they leaders. And one thing I will say about Tariq is he don't claim to be a leader. I like that. I like that he's not pushing, trying to lead somebody. I mean, he may it motivate you in what he says and stuff. And, I'm sure we all could, kind of get some information from what he's saying in his documentaries and whatnot. But he is not professed to be the leader or nobody's daddy or nothing crazy. And that's what I like about him, because I don't think nobody is the leader. I think the code is the leader. And if you off code, I don't got to know Tariq to know you. But I can see you black and you're American, bro, and you off code, I'm going to call you one. You know what I mean? We all got to understand what the code is. So I'm just saying, let's rock with it. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Peace.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get back to Smooth, and then we'll get to DJ. And any of our people in the listener section that want to come up here and speak as well, too, guys, feel free. We want to hear what you guys got to say. I'm gonna see if my speakers up here want to, the co-host and professor want to get it in and say something as well too. Smooth, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, man, he kind of beat me to it. I agree. The code is the leader. You shouldn't be telling nobody that they can't get involved in because they choose not to vote without intangibles. And I think that's a foolish thing to do because our ancestors fought for us to get tangibles. They didn't fight for us to vote for no reason. I think we need to put power behind our vote. We need to stop playing with it. So I agree. If they ain't giving us any kind of tangibles, if no policies don't got anything to benefit us, yeah, we gotta let that boy burn out. We don't care about it. Yeah, we can go ahead and do our own thing. And I stand with that.
All right, appreciate that. Go ahead and get to DJ and Original and Professor up top. If you guys want to go ahead and chime in, DJ, go ahead. You got it. You there, DJ? Okay, he may have stepped away. So let me go ahead and get to original. Original, you go ahead. You got it.
From listening to some of the other callers, I think they really expressed their opinion very well. And see, I didn't come on to Twitter until like 22, and I heard some remnants of this, the ADOS. But from what I'm listening to with the callers, if since they did certain things like the one thing you don't do is attack the elders, because if it wasn't for the work that they did, we wouldn't be here. And I would say the only way that they could possibly be relevant, first, they need to come and apologize. And they need to, especially to Dr. Paul Anderson, because he's still here. I think someone mentioned Nina Fuller. He's still here as well. They need to formally apologize, and they need, put out, an apology to Dr. Francis Chris Wilson. Because that's the one thing, that right there in itself, it says a great deal about who certain people are when they begin to attack our elders and things. And although you may have disagreements with them, okay, that's all fine and well. But until you have produced the work that they have produced, well, I don't care if you do produce the work. That's a no-no. We don't go out here doing that. And yes, it's great that they started the issue with reparation being lineage based, and you give them credit for that. But I think so often, like what some people have said, some of these people have agenda. Then I think it came out that they were really working with the Democrats, kind of like what's that other group name? InCobra. See, InCobra has always pushed. I heard about InCobra back in the 90s, and they have always pushed, money for education and other things. They never promoted getting a check plus other resources. They will only promote just education and other issues. But then when I found out that they was taking money from George Soros, that explained everything about InCobra and these other alleged black organizations that's supposed to be fighting for us. They're not fighting for us. They're fighting to contain us, to make sure that we do not get a check. And that's the Ron Daniels with Institute of the Black World, NARC, and the rest of them. These people, they turned out that they were agents. They're not doing anything for us. So I think that as far as ADOS, they owe our elders, plus they owe the community an apology. And if they can't do that, then, granted, it would be great to have as many people as possible, but as long as we have the right number of people that are going to do the right thing, that's what we need. The other people, they just get pushed to the side, because if you have like 10 to 20 committed people, you can get a whole lot of stuff done. And so if they're not willing to work with that, hey, move it on, and I'll let.
All right. Appreciate that, Original. Let me go ahead and kick it to Professor. Professor, go ahead. You got it.
Well, yeah,
I meant the other professor at the top. I'm sorry. Professor K, we'll call him Professor K. Go ahead, Professor K.
We're going to get back to you, Professor A. Don't worry. First, I just want to say, family, good to see everybody in the space tonight. Peace, power, and reparations. And my only statement on this tonight is, how I know ADOS is still relevant? All you got to do is look all throughout Black Twitter for all the ones that have been coming up in these spaces. I say probably about between 2020 and 2021, people who've been coming up in the spaces. You can see in the profile bios people that still have ADOS all in their profile. And I'm going to land right there.
All right. Short and sweet, I see. You go ahead, DJ. You got it. I don't know if is DJ in the space.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Share the room on Newstoter. Make sure y'all follow Newstoter online, y'all. So I don't heard a lot of off-code stuff in here tonight already. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's saying that, hey, look, you know, she disrespected. Let's start off with this right here. Give me Jumbotron. Make sure y'all follow ADOS Advocacy Foundation. It is an organization for those that don't understand what an organization is. So when a lot of y'all folks just came up here and said that, hey, you know, she disrespected Dr. Claude Anderson, I didn't see no one either mention how that was even disrespect or how she disrespected him or posted any receipts right here in the purple chat. Let's start right there on that one. Anybody want to come up and hash that out? How she disrespected Cress Wilson? Anybody really understand how all that went down? Anybody going once, going twice?
Okay, we got Sister Sean. She's got.
You can actually go search it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's still there.
Well, Sister Sean got her hand up, so I guess she.
Hold on, Sister Sean. Hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. So Smooth. Again, I'm asking for you to post receipts, not for me to go search it, because you up here said that she disrespected Claude Anderson, the Powernomics, woo-de-woo. So you got to come out of your own mouth or physically go post that in the chat. But go ahead, Sister Sean.
Okay, hopefully my dog doesn't bark because he's a very big dog.
Reparation.
I'm gonna give y'all some real receipts, okay? These are like live conversations. So here's number one. What I said before is that I wholeheartedly supported Yvette Carnell when she was breaking Brown for 2 years. She used to come on the local radio show here in D.C., the Beth Smith Show, who is a martyr around here in D.C., a warrior, a conscious person. This was before you guys even knew this woman. We knew her way before then. Okay, now, the disrespect, and I'm telling you my loyalty, because she came on our conscious radio stations. She used to come on the Beth Smith Show. But when Dr. Frances Cress Welsing died, she literally disrespected her on her day of death. That very next day, after me contributing to Breaking Brown for almost 2 years, my little $15 a month, I cut it because it completely disrespectful. So then she became this like little internet sensation. And I'm like, all right, I knew you when you was in our community, right? So I'm seeing what you're doing. We watching you. You're doing the right thing. Now you out here disrespecting Dr. Claude Anderson. I know him personally, okay? This whole thing and the disrespect for him, she's putting this narrative. How are you pushing Paranomics? And you got a whole fish industry and you got all this stuff and you haven't been successful. That's planting the bad seed in the people's minds. When I know everything about what Dr. Claude was doing. Let me give you a backstory. Dr. Claude went out and spent all his money. Here was the argument. Oh, well, he went down against a black bank. He's supposed to be Paranomics and this, that, and the third. And I think it was Harbor Bank or whatever. I'm going to give y'all the list because I actually know it. Dr. Claude did put all of his money out up front with a little bit of money from Harbor Bank to get a fish farm. I think if you guys know, you know. Let me tell you what happened. He went out, and part of the motivation is that half of black folks, you know how you say black folks, we eat fish, we love seafood. You know, we at the Red Lobster, we here, we there, the Golden Corral, and everywhere we at. So he went and invested all of this money in the fish farm, and he went to the major restaurants, right? A black owned, trying to get connections and contracts, and they wouldn't contract with him. So they're like, okay, well, the Red Lobster, the Golden Corral. I mean, look at it. You guys know it in your own. Come on, bud. You all know it in your own life or your own geographic location where you live. We frequent these places. And so he was like, well, how are black people making you all this money and you won't buy my fish where my people are making you rich? That's what happened. It's deeper than that, y'all. So that's how that whole fish industry went down. So he went out to multiple corporations. And what they did, if they didn't like it, y'all don't understand. What he did was he did fight. He said, black people are eating your food and you're not buying from me. He went to Red Lobster. He went to all of those places that we sit up there and make them rich. But they gave Dr. Claude his ass to kiss. Now, he's a businessman. I mean, he knows, but you can't say that, oh, he's a failure. He's preaching the practice, but he failed. No. He failed just like many of us are failing. We're failing because we're being sabotaged out here in business. They don't give a fuck about us.
Hey, Sean, sweetie, you got to watch that language now.
I'm sorry. All right. You always check me. I forgot I'm on 2. I have to be real. I really had my behavior on Newstoter. Okay. So that's the Claude Anderson thing. And that's the backstory that you all have to understand. And not only that, even historically, sometimes if you listen to him over time, he's always trying to project businesses. And his family, they were one of the first black-owned city bus systems. So it depends on where you live. Here in D.C., we call it the Metro. In Philly, you may call it something. In New York, you may call it something. But they sabotaged us so much with that integration, where so then the bus system went out of business because everybody wanted to go to the new bus system and not go on his family bus system. They had these bus rail lines and everything. It's something called the Southern Flyer. That's something coming on right now that needs to be elevated. The Southern Flyer. The Southern Flyer. They're working with Buttigieg, which is the head of Department of Transportation. Buttigieg is his name. We have a proposal. He has a proposal for the Southern Flyer. The Southern Flyer is a rail system connecting the South to the North, all the way up through our, what you call our, referred to as
the Black Belt.
The Black Belt. It's a whole black-owned company trying to project to Buttigieg to invest. If you want to invest in black entrepreneurs, it's a whole new Southern rail where we're going to do like a super flyer in the Southern Belt. And it's all black owned. But we get nothing. We get no push. And I think the website is up there. Still go southernflyer.com. It's called the Southern Flyer. And Dr. Claude is, even in his old age, he's on that board. He's still trying to push that with Buttigieg. And I'm going to try to get the guy out here, and he needs to get out here on these Twitter spaces. The problem is these people are old. And you got to understand, they work different. They don't work on social media. They work going directly, dealing with congressmen and dealing with people. They are giving us, we are talking to them. They're giving us their ass to kiss. We have no power. When we walk up to them with the Southern Power Plan, or I work with John Cheek with the recovery plan and all these different things, we're going in singularity. And they know we don't have nothing behind us, so they care nothing about it. You got to understand how these politics works. I'm right here. So don't be so quick to do that. So back to the topic.
Yeah, because I was gonna say we done got way off the topic here.
Okay, so Yvette wanted to get out there and be her own little individual person. And what she did, and it wasn't just Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, it wasn't just Dr. Claude Anderson, but it was also Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mean, come on, anybody, I even know that. Why don't you take your investment in your social capital and understand how to navigate social capital. You got to understand, if you're a leader, everybody is not going to understand, or everybody's not going to be in one agreement. But if you are a true leader, you can stay focused on your goal. And your goal is lineage-based reparations. And she was not putting reparations, and people have been fighting for reparations in Cal House. But her unique contribution was putting it on the back from a political standpoint and making it on the table. So once it's on the table, you got to make them eat.
All right, Sister Sean, let me get you to land your plane so we can get a couple other.
She failed to make them eat. She put reparations on the table, but she failed to make them eat. And that was because of a lack of leadership, because there was some egotisticness coming on. She should have collaborated with the freedmen and the FBA, and she should have she should have put it aside, and she should have took the higher road for the people. She took a singularity low. She's absolutely brilliant. And like I said, I'm going to keep saying, she can rebrand herself, but she's going to have to also humble herself at the same time, because I already know what it takes. I'm here.
Okay, Sister Sean, we're gonna get back to you, sweetie. We're gonna get back to you.
We can't do it alone. We're gonna have to humble ourselves in our grievances. Okay, I'll fold my chair.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. I want to go ahead and get to I know we got a new speaker up at Black Majority State, so let me go ahead and get the Black before I get to Black real quick, guys. In the Jumbotron, we got the Newstoter membership, guys. It's for as little as $1.75 a month. You can support the Newstoter platform. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today. So for as little as $1.75, you create a membership on the website, and you can support us. That's also on YouTube on the screen as well, too. The Newstoter.com customer link. Definitely click that. For those that can't do that, then we also have the Cash App available too. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. For those that do not have Cash App, we have the PayPal and Venmo in the Jumbotron, and we have the PayPal and Venmo in the description on YouTube. Let me go ahead and get to Black Majority State. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
Hello, sir. Newstoter, doing great, and great space. I have no personal relationship with Miss Yvette Carnell. I don't have any stories to tell. When I came into this thing, I came in intentionally as a solo mind, so that I wouldn't necessarily be influenced and or distracted. That's how I wanted to enter into this realm of conversation. But salute to her. She is the genesis of this new movement that gained traction online, because I started seeing echoes of it, and I responded to it with the book that I wrote 6 years ago. I have no issues with the ADOS members. I know there was something called DAS that may have preceded it. But I think ultimately this is all divine information that our people are going to gather, and then hopefully move, and hopefully that divine spirit motivates us to action. I think that's what's most important. I know that a lot of people have been blocked, and I've been blocked as well. I think it's a pretty big club, but I would prefer that someone would block me rather than, engaging in back and forth or disingenuousness, if that was the case. I'm blocked by some very famous people, to be quite honest, and I've learned to take it as an honor rather than as a problem for me, because, again, it just helps me to focus in on my message and what I want to get across. I do have one issue, and it is a personal issue, because there was a moment in time, and I don't know what it was. I think there was a person who called into her YouTube channel, I guess is what it was, specifically about the reverse migration, or the migration to states for state power. And, she, for whatever reason, felt that it would be a negative, and her response particularly was to say that she lives in the South, and the South is horrible, and Black people down there really don't know what they're doing, or words to that effect. And I'm going to try to find a video so I can post it. But ultimately, she used a really problematic phrase. And she used either the term run or flee. I can't remember which one it was. But that is a phrase that I have regurgitated to me often, and I have to waste like hours of time to explain why you can't run or flee when you're moving inside of your own country. The 6 million Black Americans who left the South were migrationists, and they migrated for many different reasons. And so their children and their grandchildren deciding to return to the place that they left is in fact well within their rights to do so, and to do so for political power is actually the most powerful thing that they could possibly do in this country. As Sister Sean laid out, not only are they blocking us out, but the Latinos, the Mexicans, they are the new favorite darling on American soil, and they are going to be giving the keys to the kingdom, quite literally. And so us remaining scattered across this country really is not a solution. It unfortunately, it's going to accelerate all of the negative plans that they have for us, and we will not be able to do anything about it. At least if we had 1 or 2 states, we would have U.S. senators, we would have U.S. representatives that could actually do something for us at the federal level, and then we would have our governors and state legislators that could certainly do something for us at the state, local, and county level. So I don't understand if that was a personal grievance that she has with someone else or something else, or why a person who, clearly wants to advocate for her people would totally reject a political movement that is comprehensive, that would actually change the things. I don't care how many organizations we create. If an organization has no power against the government, especially a Black American descendant, Negro, freedmen descendant organization, because they hate us. And if we don't at least accept that card, we're never going to figure the rest of it out. So I just want to end with that. I say God bless her and her organization and all the people who follow her. But this is one area in which she has instilled some confusion in the population, and it needs to be corrected. I will debate her anywhere at any time about this issue because she's dead wrong, period.
All right. Thank you, Black. Let me go ahead and get to Just Cakes, and I'm going to get to G Money after that. Just Cakes, you got it.
Thanks again. Can you just go to G Money?
Okay, we'll come back to you. G Money, you got it.
Peace, host Newstoter. Peace to the co-host YPI. Peace to the co-host Original.
Peace.
Peace to the folk, and most importantly, peace to the listeners. The ADOS, I don't see an issue with it. If Yvette is doing something for the betterment of our people, then more power to her. I don't see why we should step on it. That's her lane, and if that's the lane she wants to ride down, I don't think we should veer into her space. The respect to goes the same as vice versa. I don't think anybody should veer into anybody's space. If that's the lane they choose to go in and you don't choose to go in that way, then let that be what it is. If it's helping our people out and it's helping them progress and move forward the movement, then all power to her. Now, there's personal ideological differences that people have with people's information. That's fine. You're challenging, you're sharpening your sword. Now, when it comes down to it, it's a fine line between critique and criticism. And at the time, she was maybe critiquing our elder sister's ideology, but it was bad timing.
You know what I'm saying? You don't kind of want to critique somebody in their death. You kind of want to remember and reverent in her work and show respect. And, you know, I think her ego, and as well as a lot of people's ego who have platforms, come into play. You know, that's the humanization of these movements. You know what I'm saying? People are going to have a bit of a stronger identity of self. I'll put it like that, because I'm not here to criticize anybody at this point, but we are going to critique what was said. So in the Jumbotron YPI, it's her own words, you know, where she did admit to criticizing the sister, and she said it was the wrong time. And as many of our elders have said, it's a time and a place. And I truly believe in that, and I'm sure those of us who have any morality will believe in that as well. You know, you just don't critique a person when they die. You want to celebrate that person and be all in on what she has accomplished in her time on this planet. And to criticize her work at that time was a bad thought process that turned out to be an out loud thought. Now, you know, as far as everybody's position, you know, when it concerns her organization, movement, what have you, you know, you can have your position, agree to disagree, but we all can't sit here and say she's going against the grain as far as trying to move our people forward. And that goes for anybody, even those who I tend to disagree with ideologically. It's just that, an ideological difference, not personal, unless you make it personal. But, you know, when it comes to the critiquing of our elders and what they have brought forth in this movement, I think it should be kind of a delicate dance, you know, to where we're not knocking our elder brothers and sisters for their knowledge that they put forth in the context and time in which they put it forth. Of course, you know, as time goes on, we learn more, and we add on to what's been already put forth, or we take away what we know to be untrue or false. That's how we learn to move forward and use the right knowledge and not just information. We want right knowledge, not information. Thank you, Newstoter, and to the speakers and to the listeners. Appreciate your time. Just keep the movement moving forward. Newstoter, keep putting that news out for us, and I appreciate your efforts and abilities. And thank you all. Peace.
Peace. Thank you, G Money. Thank you. Appreciate you coming up here tonight, and definitely sharing that with us as well too. Let me give a shout out real quick to EHZ for their contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and kick it to Just Case. Just Case, let's see if we can get you up here now, sweetie.
Okay, all right. We're gonna see how this goes. So I like Dr. Clyde Anderson's just his whole curriculum. I didn't get on the reparations thing because of Yvette Carnell. It was actually what brought me into it was Dr. Clyde Anderson's conversation with Rock Newman. I like the fact that he used terms like Native Black American, and the fact that he warned us against tricky language they use in legislation. You know, when they creating bills and stuff like that, and how they block us out. He really put us up on a lot of game. And I guess the thing that was just so egregious, at least for me personally, is that you judge these people that have they at the end of their lifetime. You know what I'm saying? They at the end of they in their ending chapters, and you just beginning, and you so critical. And keep in mind, you know, when he was doing his lectures in these churches and these small halls and stuff like that, that was before the internet.
You know, if you can put any group of people together, if that's what you choose to do, it's that much more easier because look at us now. We all congregate, and if we want to meet up and stuff like that, we can do just that. So to critique or to be so critical of that man's work, he failed in some things that he tried to do. Well, anytime you try to do anything, it's a chance that you will fail. So that's what really I didn't like that about her. And I don't like that she had something in common with the Congressional Black Congress and the black media like Roland Martin and stuff like that. She likes to talk down and talk at people. You know what I'm saying? Black people, we don't have to be treated like the idiots in the back of the class. You don't have to talk down to us. You don't have to talk to us with a lack of dignity. We deserve dignity and respect. And sometimes, because I used to watch her too, I used to watch her religiously. The way she speaks, very demeaning, very nasty and stuff like that. Okay, people not understand. You got to understand that you got to meet people where they at. And it's just following her. It's either her way or no way, and you can't run no movement like that. And sometimes, to afford the progress, you just got to pick up the baton and keep on running. You know, for all the things that Clyde Anderson said and done, and even if the information he put out there for us, you could have built a foundation on that, which a lot of people did. And I keep it a buck. That's what ADOS and FBA. I'm not finna gangbang when it comes to my lineage, because at the end of the day, yes, my ancestors was enslaved in America. No, it is not the Caribbean. He told us how to separate and stuff like that, because it is a difference. They put us up on the fact that CARICOM did not include us. It's just all the information he put out there for us. You can't take that away from him, okay? And to denigrate him, it's just, I think that's why she lost so many cool points. I don't think she's unredeemable though, because we gotta stop. If she can come back into the fold, she's a very educated woman, okay? But as far as if she can't play well with others, then I don't know how far that movement's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not wishing it to fail. It's just being realistic. We have to work together. With the Hispanic issue going on and everything else, Sister Shawn is right. With us fractured like we is, she's absolutely right. The black immigrants that come over here, they are immigrant first. They're not black first. You know, and we not on the same page. And they're not entitled to what we got coming on. And like I say, I'm rocking with everything Dr. Clyde Anderson said. And I'll leave it at that. I'm going to just go to the listeners. Thank you, y'all.
All right. Thank you, Jess Cakes. Real quick, let me give a shout out to all the people over there on YouTube. Shout out to D, American Lady, Clary. I see my girl, Miss D over there as well, too. Real quick, R. Bailey just did a super chat. Shout out to R. Bailey in the super chat. R. Bailey says, what Black said, and he's talking about you, Black majority, he says, what Black said about populating the state to gain political power was brilliant. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Black is on that Black majority state tip as well, too. So that's definitely something that we definitely need. And hopefully we can get to that point. And let me go ahead and this has been a very interesting conversation as well, too. And I definitely, like I said, I love to hear from some of our ADOS people in here as well, too, guys. And I know we've had Sister Shawn made some excellent points as well, too. So I definitely want to hear from our people as well, too. That's still to this day ADOS, because you still have people that's ADOS to this day. I know people say they don't think it, but you still got people that's actually still, part of ADOS family, guys. So I want to hear what people got to say about that as well. Let me go ahead and kick it to and let me tell all the speakers tonight too, guys. I know I said it earlier, but please don't come up here with the profanity tonight, guys. Let's go ahead and try to keep the conversation profanity free. Let me go ahead and get to Fahima. Fahima, how you doing tonight?
Newstoter. I was originally coming just to listen. I wasn't going to make a comment, but I respectfully would like to address something that Brother Original stated earlier. I had to step away because you did bring me up, but I had to step away. What I wanted to say, let me preface my comment by saying that I was the founding co-chair of the Howard University the Howard University chapter of InCobra. I worked with the likes of the late Dr. Dorothy Bentley Lewis, Dr. Mary Hoover, Charles Ogletree and Johnny Cochran were working on a legal defense fund. And I also had the opportunity to go to the UN Conference Against Racism in Durban, South Africa, and came back and did a report. And cash payments were very much a part of InCobra's plan. The attorneys, the legal defense firm was crafting a lawsuit to hold accountable not only the government, but the insurance companies and banks and other entities and universities who were responsible and benefited from the enslavement of our people in this country. I take exception to the notion of maybe even oversight of saying that we weren't asking for cash payment, but I do take exception to the characterization that we were agents. One has to be careful placing jackets on people. I am no agent. Dr. Hoover was no agent. Dr. Bentley Lewis was no agent, and neither were any of the other folks that were working with us. And so one needs to be careful when you put jackets on people. Now, the issue with saying I'm not going to go, you may have heard that we weren't asking for cash payments, and that may have been oversight, but I do take issue with calling people agents. And as far as George Soros, I keep hearing this rumor. We were taking money out of our own pockets. I never received a dime. I went to the UN Conference Against Racism in Durban, South Africa on my own dime, and I went to Barbados for the follow-up conference on my own dime. No one was being paid. So I just wanted to set the record straight, and one has to be careful repeating things, saying that people are agents. Dr. Hoover and those people from California know Dr. Mary Rose Hoover, who started the Niobe School in East Palo Alto, California. Her land was taken in Florida, and they made an airport out of it. And people should know the work that Dorothy Bentley Lewis was doing. And the gentlemen the attorneys who worked in the Legal Defense Fund for InCobra, their names go without record. And I will land there.
All righty. Thank you, Fahima. Thank you, Fahima. Like I said, once again, guys, for those that can donate on Cash App, $ Newstoter. Also, we're trying to get some members signing up to the website. That's on the right-hand side of the Jumbotron. So we're definitely trying to get some members. Go ahead and sign up. We got about 15 members the past month and a half. We're trying to get a little bit more. So definitely for those that can, you can sign up for as little as $1.75 and support us monthly for as little as $1.75 a month. You can't support Black-owned business any cheaper than that. Once again, $ Newstoter. Let me go ahead and get to I see you got my girl Rella up here. Rella, what's going on with you tonight? I hope everything is good.
Hey, Newstoter. Yes, everything is actually coming back full circle. You know, ups and downs and challenges come with the territory. So I look forward to what's actually getting ready to unfold in the future. I want to say, let me answer the question first. Is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant today in 2024? I believe so. She's still alive, and ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slaves. Although I don't subscribe to maybe joining their advocacy group, I would not discourage anyone to do so. But I will say my interaction, I think, with her was when I believe she blocked me because of mentioning the freedmen history at the time when ADOS, I think, was at the height of the movement. And I believe it's because, there was a specific track that her and Tone Talks wanted to stay on, and they just were not interested in recognizing all of history. When you talk about freedmen or you talk about Black Americans in its our entirety, whether it's Negroes and any other classifications, I think that you should be well able to acknowledge those terms under your advocacy group, because it's a part of this construction of history that we are privy to. And it doesn't matter, I think, on what you have done in the past per se, not in a sense of it doesn't matter that we shouldn't acknowledge it. I think the influence and impact of where we are at and how it has gotten us to where we are is also what people are looking forward to now. And, listening to Fahima, all of the accolades and the people that she mentioned, those are great, and we should know all of them. But she didn't mention Dr. Claude Anderson. She didn't mention Fred Casey Price. She didn't mention anyone else in those lenses of contributed work, Dr. Bell, any of those people. And then when you think about people who are meeting at, the UN, there's a group of people who just went to the UN on our behalf, who are part of the legacy organization, grassroots organizations, yet again. And the work still continues. People are going to go to places to saturate new information uncovered. It did those things. Does not mean the work ended, because we're still in a genocidal condition. It just means the same thing that I thought when Yvette did take a shot at Dr. Claude Anderson on her YouTube channel, and it turned me off. And she said that take us any further. I would say that with anyone who decides to want to argue and debate their own people into the ground versus having a conversation to spread awareness of new knowledge, Dr. Claude Anderson and the people of the past, like Fahima mentioned, they did a great work, and they've given us tools to utilize to move further. And then we're supposed to build on those tools. We're supposed to uncover newfound information. And I think that's what the movement did with ADOS and with the people who opened up the door to acknowledge who the freedmen were and who ADOS actually were. When I think of American descendants of slaves, well, the slave portion is true, but then they transitioned to being freedmen after emancipation and prior to slavery, those who actually went to the courts and fought for their freedom through the courts, and then they had to leave the states, because a lot of states you couldn't live once you received your freedom. So again, I think it's all in perspective. It's not necessarily to denounce or demean anybody anymore. It really is about how do we open the next door, and are we going to walk through the next door as a collective with the newfound information? And that's the space that we have to go into in 2025 and the rest of 24, because we are behind the 8 ball, as people would say, and we owe it to our lineage and the people who came before us and our children who will come after us and then some to go through the next door. I can't harp on what Ogletree and any of the lawyers didn't do. I can only take hold of the reins and learning the knowledge of what they were trying to do and add on to that and take what they weren't able to do and move forward. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's the conversation we should be in, the realm we should be moving into. If you didn't want the title of agent, I think you have to move out of the space of trying to Pan-Africanize everything. If you didn't take the knowledge of today and what we learned today on being descendants to the UN, don't worry. There are people who are doing that today. They're doing just that. And I'm proud of them. And then there are going to be people after them who are actually going to go back and saturate the airwaves with the fact that we are descendants of a great people who were called American freedmen, who essentially were ADOS, because they are the descendants. So whether you are indigenous or you have African amalgamation, all of that is part of our history. And if somebody wants to put us in a boat where we have to pick and choose, they will not get us farther. They won't, because they'll have you arguing about everything about ourselves versus moving us forward. And that's where we have to go. So I can appreciate the work that Yvette and Tone and all of the movement of ADOS for the people who are still there, but it continues. And if, staying in a place of, I don't know, misinformation or wanting to just be right and have your name in the headlights is where you want to be, then yes, where you're going to be, and the world will move on, because that's what's happening. So I hope that we get a chance to open up the next door. Newstoter, I appreciate you. And the best news platform, ETM Media. I always shout out all of our media platforms for the grassroots work that we're doing and understanding that we know the conditions and the things that we need. We need cash payments. We need programs that are developed under our Freedmen Bureau. Once again, we are demanding of our debt that is owed to us. And we are also coming for all those nations who also participated in the slave trade and benefited off the backs of our ancestors and are left us destitute here in the United States. So, Alan.
All right, let me read this comment real quick from YouTube from American Ladies. She says, my great-great-grandfather told the U.S. government he was a slave. Freedman is nowhere in his records. All righty. Okay. Let me go.
Can I say this on Newstoter?
Yeah.
It does not have nothing to do about it being in your records. It's what actually was put in the Constitution during emancipation and prior to. So if you haven't searched in the courts, you haven't searched when it comes to freedom papers, you haven't deep dived with a genealogist, then you don't know what's on your family's record. You don't know what's changed. They changed a lot of our ancestors from farmers to laborers on the census, and that was done strategically, just like they did when they changed the birth certificates on the state level, because the state level is the only place where your birth certificate is recognized. The federal government doesn't recognize birth certificates. They only recognize it's non-racial. And so when I was born in 83, that's when they stopped putting on their African American or Black American on people's birth certificates. They stopped putting Negro. All of those things were changing because immigrants were coming into the country. And as I was told by someone from Vital Statistics, they didn't want to offend the immigrants. Now, what does that tell you if you can't find any paperwork that has the term freedman on it? It does not mean that the classification doesn't fit your family. It just means that you need a genealogist to help you get to the information that is due to you. And I'll land.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let me go ahead and get to
Newstoter, please, because she did mention my name very briefly.
No, hold on. Who is that? Who is that talking? Who was that talking? They ain't got all night. Yeah, hold on, cause he's actually next for Hema. So let me go ahead and get the Iron. I got you. Don't worry about it. But let me go ahead and get the Iron. If you're on the headset, Iron, you need to put the headset off so we can hear you loud and clear. You got it.
All right. So listen, to the point of the statement, is ADOS and Yvette still relevant? I think that not. So for me, it's not about the personal fees, whether or not she's relevant or not. I think she became irrelevant when we tried to change ADOS from a lineage-based standpoint to an organization. I think that's where she became irrelevant, because she came exactly the thing that she's been fighting against in terms of NARC and InCobra. She became that exact thing. And you can see that because as she developed the organization, then she opened it up for LGBTQ with white people and all manner of things, again, that are antithetical to this this hyper focus on lineage. So she did herself a disservice. by doing that. She should have worked with Freedmen. She should have worked with FBA. She should have. I told her, some years ago, you need to get them feminists out of the camp, right? Because those are the ones she even herself had to get at because they were always running their mouths. You know what I'm saying? Like cackling hens, not actually doing the work, and so the lack of relevance comes because she's not able to rein in those specific aspects of the entity that's not actually doing the work and that are actually more involved in trying to push this cult of personality than actually what does it mean to be ADOS. But she even said herself early on, she said the reason that I'm picking these beats with all these different groups is because she wants to make a name for ADOS, right? Because the name it doesn't mean anything. So picking fights was she admittedly said a strategy to try to get the ADOS name out of there. Basically trolling in a sense, political trolling in a sense. So, but unfortunately, now is the time to actually get down to the actual work of the thing, and that's something that she didn't want to get her hands involved. That's partly why she didn't. She was at odds with the different arms and wings of her own ADOS group because she did not want to do the work at that time for whatever reason. She was more interested in continuing to build up her name and the name ADOS. And I will to say that the irrelevant aspect of ADOS and Yvette Carnell came to a head when Tone, he deleted the video when he did a video saying that there is so much feminism going on here in this group that they don't even acknowledge him as the co-founder of ADOS. Because you see, Tone is not in the title. I mean that's specifically. So not only is she alienating everybody else, but she's essentially helped to alienate the co-founder, which was Tone, which he brought the data, which was the key component. There would have been no ADOS had he not had us focusing on the data and the statistics, right? That is one of the major components of what we use now and the approach we take to do our reparations work. And that's part of the work that Narcan and Cobra, they didn't. I mean, Narcan and Cobra didn't have that. That was a time. That wasn't necessarily in their that wasn't something that they had in their arsenal. But I get it. But at the same time, we're online. They weren't really reaching the grassroots. They actually thought that somehow they had some pull with a divine nine, and they were trying to swim with the sharks, with the big sharks, and really they didn't have any fucking teeth, right? So.
Hey, language. But go ahead.
So really, they just became a tool of the Democratic Party, and that's where the pushback came within Narcan and Cobra, is that they became a shield for the Democratic Party and the liberals, and that's where where we really had our anger and our dislike of those groups, because they would not they don't do politics, but yet they're allowing themselves to be used by the Democratic Party to actually block our progress, right? And so they were not politically astute enough, but they thought they were because they've been in those circles being used by them for so long. So the reality is we had to move them up out of the way completely. So I don't disagree with that at all, because they just were not they were not able to make the curve, and they weren't interested in making the curve because they were in their ego, right? They were in their ego. When you talk to Jamoki, you talk to other people, they were not even interested in the politics that was necessary, because because for most of them, they were interested, when you brought up Nation of Islam, they were just interested in having their own separate country within America, as if somehow that was going to be feasible, and America was going to just say, oh, black people, we've done you wrong. Here, just take all of this land in America and just go about your merry way. That kind of outdated thinking. Of course, we had to get y'all behinds up out the paint. Of course, because you have no idea the landscape, the political landscape that we're in. And that was something that Yvette taught us. So what I'm saying, I give respect to her. You got to give respect to Tone, but again, if you're not able to make the curve and you don't understand what's happening, then what I'm saying, you need to go by the wayside, right? And again, my beef always was, if you're going to be banging on these immigrants all day based on delineation, I'm like, okay, how about this? Tone in that same video said it was the black intersectional feminists who opened the door to all of these other groups coming in the first place. Because the intersectionalism, they thought, okay, we're all the same. It was the black feminists that opened the door to all of this, right? So for me, I'm like, yo, man, you got to close the door on it. And she wouldn't close the door. She was, when I talked to her, she said, she tried to act like, well, maybe you just have a problem with black women. No, that's not a problem, personally, I have with black women. It's just black female politics is shit, right? It's been
language.
Hey, I already said this already. I've had to say it a few times a night. We're not coming in here with all the cursing and stuff. I said it already about 3-4 times. So let's chill on the cursing, y'all. Go ahead and unmute it, DJ.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It'd be doing a double mute.
I think a couple mutes right there. But like I said, as we know, you had black women talking about they were the Michael Jordan of the Democratic Party, and we need hair bills, we need this, and I'm like, yo, man, this has nothing to do with the black collective, right? Black, uplifting black females is great and wonderful, but when that supersedes the needs of the collective, like, yo, you shoot us in the foot, and then you're fashioning the direction of the movement to be more inclusive of these people that have these kind of political ideologies, right? I mean, just and it was funny, but she knows better, because she even did a video talking about how when the brick lady came out, and all the black women were saying, okay, this black men don't know what community is because we're not protecting black women, and then she had to say to the black women, said, where were all of these black feminists? When black men were going to prison in droves, right? These same black feminists were trying to line their pockets while black men were being slated to be in prison, for 25 to life type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So she knows better. But the point is, for me, she became irrelevant because you will not stick to your guns. You will not police the organization and lead it the way that it should. You're trying to make it this all-inclusive thing organization, and you're not sticking to the lineage model that we stood on when you first got started. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, she's a woman. I have nothing against women leading because I follow them. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, for me, for the most part, I think it was men who were the major followers from the beginning anyway. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think she lost it when she tried to get inclusive with some of these feminists, and then she went at the FBA because she said out her own mouth, she said, "Oh, we let these FBAs in there, these Tariqites, there's going to be sexual lawsuits." I'm saying you can't put that jacket on black men just because they don't agree with you, with how you're doing it, and they're following Tariq and he's a clown. That doesn't mean that black men are going to be, essaying black women in the organization. And for me, like, you deaded me from your group when you went at black men and you made that what the aim was, is to protect black women instead of us moving.
Hey, let me get you to land your plane, Ian.
I'm landing.
All right. Appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Professor Alon. Go ahead. You can unmute your mic.
Hey, I got to run in a minute. I have got a busy night, but I just want to first say thank you for this room, because for those of you who don't know, that came in a little later, I was here earlier. I joined this room. Well, first and foremost, I had no clue. I had no clue about several people in the chat alleged made allegations that there was some type of friction between Yvette and Dr. Claude Anderson. I had no clue about that. So during this time period, I was following a show called Tone Talks for about 8 months or something or so, and I liked it because I'm a data-driven person, and the show had data-driven elements, And one day I just, they were talking about on Tone Talks, they were talking about an issue about, Africa, and I had some, I was doing some research on it with my students, and I had some data on Dr. Claude Anderson. It was an obscure topic. The topic was not about Dr. Claude Anderson, but I was excited to call in. Tone answered, and he said, "Go ahead." And I gave my data. I talked about the issue, and I said, it went like this, y'all. I said, according to Dr. Claude Anderson, and the room erupted into like this thing. It was like, oh no, oh my, and it confused me, and things got really weird. It was like I said, it was almost like I said something wrong, right? And for I think it's been about 2 years, I've been confused about why that happened, and that's when I stopped following ADOS, unsubscribed to Tone Talks, and that's when that happened, because of that oddness of that occurrence that happened. So I want to say thank you, because now I understand. I think I have a better understanding of why that happened. I kind of backlogged that in my mind and was like, why? But that was so odd, because I was, you think, did I say something? It was like one of those moments. But so thank you for the room. It's been very educational. Last but not least, somebody, the host was talking about somebody in YouTube was mentioning had some needed to know more information about the Freedmen's Bureau, or had some doubts or whatnot, and I urge that person to go and buy Dr. W. Du Bois's The Souls of Black Folk on page 18 and 19. Actually, all across the book, but especially on page 18 and 19, Dr. Du Bois really clears up, invalidates the functionality of the Freedmen's Union. So that's all I had to say. Thank you for the room.
All right, appreciate it, and thank you for coming up tonight and speaking as well too. Pleasure listening to you and hearing from you tonight. So definitely, I know you be up in the spaces sometimes, so I definitely appreciate having you up in here. Let me go ahead and get to Fahima, then I'm gonna get to you as well, Rella. Fahima, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, just very briefly, the sister had said that there were people I didn't mention. I didn't mention Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who I brought to Medgar Evers College and before I went to Howard, facilitated her at Busboys and Poets Continue Talk on Race, and attended her monthly lectures. I was specifically speaking about people who worked with InCobra. Those are the people that I was mentioning. And the last thing is, I put in the timeline Ta-Nehisi Coates' case for reparation that speaks to all of the many areas that we are owed for. Convict leasing, having our property taken away from us, redlining, all of the, because it's not just the federal government. Yes, it's the federal government, but these are the insurance companies and these financial institutions and these universities. So I put that in the timeline for people to take a look at.
All right. Thank you, Fahima. Reggie, I sent you an invite. I know you left a couple comments. If you want to come up here and speak, you can definitely come on up here and speak. I sent you the invite. So if you'd like to come up here and speak, feel free. You can get on the microphone. Rella, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. So again, I think sometimes when Fahima hears us talking, I think things go over her head. And I'm going to say this again. It really is not about your accolades and who you stood by and you know, being at Howard University in any capacity. It's really about at the time that was spent doing the things that you did it get you to the point where legislation on the books, where a commission has been developed? Ta-Nehisi, everybody knows about Mr. Coates. We even know about his speech, or his submission in front of the government at the Capitol. But at the same time, again, it did not spark InCobra, nor did it spark a movement in the Supreme Court to the point where a Supreme Court justice actually certified and solidified the term freedman on the federal level. And another justice actually recognized that the slave language, which is actually within the 13th Amendment, Parliament, was also revealed as well. All I'm saying is we can have proximity to great people, and it does not mean that those great people are continuing the things that they actually are standing in line of. Ta-Nehisi Coates did not speak on lineage. He spoke on harms, but yet no bills or information was introduced on any of the state levels. The 1619 project came about, and they still had to actually tap into Dr. Darity and Kirsty Mullen to pull out and find an adjacent way to enwrap themselves and engulf themselves into lineage some kind of way, because they had took the approach that NARC and InCobra did in trying to keep everything Pan-Africanized, and it wasn't working. So again, kudos to you for the things and the people that you are around. But let's now get back to reality and say, how has that impacted us today to cure the 5 pillars of harm? To acknowledge the fact that we all know that insurance companies and other nations and other businesses like JP Morgan and Chase, who stole the freedmen's money and tried to come out and say they were going to donate $300 million in investments, and no one has seen that money. So again, where has your movement and your connections and your associations and your accolades gotten us thus far, in that sense? Because it's good for you on an individual level, but on a collective level, when it comes to the same politics that we're talking about, California and other states who are constructing bills to try to address positions of harm and find ways to pass compensatory justice, that's where the real work is. The federal government is going to be the major work in us actually getting a compensatory monetary money and also acknowledgement. Did Ta-Nehisi Coates mention that? Did anyone in NARC and InCobra, when you were there, did they mention those things? No, because even Ian, I think it's Ian, also mentioned that NARC and InCobra didn't have those tools. Ron Daniels refused to even talk to, I think at the time, someone from ADOS. They caught him on video telling them that that's not the route that they should go. He's on video. I don't know if it was an FBA person, a Freeman person. I remember the video. And Ron Daniels has always been like that. When I met up with him with a group of other people here at Howard University when Roland Martin had that summit, Ron Daniels and what's the other guy's name? Cam Howard, Dr. Carr, none of them on that stage were concerned about the descendant community. They were too busy trying to tie everything back to somewhere in Africa and find a way to get a part of CARICOM and again, find a way to funnel money. It had nothing to do with reparative issues here in the States. And they brought everyone under the sun who was a Pan-African to preach that the people in the community of DC to look at the lens of reparations through a Pan-Africanist view versus a descendant lineage view. And that's what I'm trying to point out. I didn't tell you what my college background was and who I know and where I've been. And I could have met the president for all you know. But none of that would matter if it has no impact on where we need to go right now and what construction and work I'm doing right now. I got a school here in Virginia named after a freedman. I'm working with the organizations here. That is what uncovering and embodying my American business and making sure reparations is represented in all aspects. A bureau would do that as well. And we can mention the insurance companies and name all these people and make sure that they're on notice. But, read the room. It's not about you, just about you. It's about all of us as a collective, and I keep saying that. So, I don't know. Maybe Fahima just wants to argue. I don't know. But I'm tired of arguing. We got work to do. And I would like to see some bits of reparations before I pass away. So.
All right. Thank you, Rella. I appreciate you. Let me go ahead and get to and we're not gonna keep the space open too much longer, y'all. I think everybody's doing a pretty good job tonight. Pretty civil discussion as well, too, which I definitely enjoy. Let me go ahead and get Ian back up here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the Just Cakes, and I see Sister Sean's up here as well too. So Ian, you got it.
Yeah. Appreciate your space again. Everything that the sister said is true, and that has to be understood. When you don't do the work to develop the progression of the generation of the lineage of black freedmen in America, you're really not doing the work that's necessary for our renewal, right? You're really only, like you said, doing a Pan-African project, right? That the whole world can partake in, right? And so, that becomes, where the animosity for NARC and InCobra come from. Because again, you guys now, you're in there doing your thing, and for all we know, you guys are pushing for immigrants, more immigrants to come over here. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of politics that we don't need, right? It's that type of politics, from the Black Caucus and NARC and InCobra, where you're supporting immigration into America, right? That's further harming our community. And you're just not listening to what the needs are of our people. Our need is not a political alliance with other groups of black people around the world. That's not what we need. No, we need first to be undergirded economically, right? The same way that white people were in America. That's what we need, right? And if you're not pushing for that, you're not pushing for the benefit of our people. That's just plain and simple, right? There's no way around trying to sugarcoat it. You're not doing the work that's necessary for us, right? At one point, yes, it was necessary to try to uplift Africa because we didn't have that kind of lineage-based identity. We didn't know that was even possible, right? Really, so we got to give you that credit for tuning us in, to that, right? And Tone for tuning us into that. So you got to make the curve. If you're not going to make the curve, we need to get you to sit down and shut up. I'm sorry, that's just how it rolls, right? And Friedman, as the sister said, is the door opening, where the door is closed for DEI and race-based initiatives, right? Friedman is the way, right? And if you're not recognizing that and you're trying to do, your own separate world and Wakanda country in America, and you especially not doing us no favors, right? Because nobody ain't going along with the Nation of Islam at one point in time was talking about meeting with the KKK and getting some land and doing whatever. Yo, those days are over and gone, right? A white man can't even get his own people in America without the FBI coming and knocking down his door, right? That's absurd and that's irrational, right? And these other countries, other black countries around the world, right? They're not trying to share nothing. They hand them out themselves. You think they're gonna be like, oh, let's share? No, they're gonna try to take the bulk. This is the reality of human nature. And I think, this Pan-Africanism, we went too far to say, there are no devils amongst black people. There are devils amongst black people. And we have to call them out and we have to eliminate them from among us. So I just land there.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Just Kate. Reggie, I see you. You did accept the invite, so if you want to speak, go ahead and get your hand up. I'll go ahead and I'll get you in here as well too. Same for you, no BS. I get you up in here as well too. So if you guys in the speaker section and you want to speak, just put your hands up and we'll get to you. Let me get the Just Cakes. I do want to hear what the new speakers got to say too. So if you guys want to speak, we'll go ahead and we'll get you in here. So Just Cakes, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, if they want to speak, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I just, the only thing I wanted to say is that I don't, what's that I was saying about you catch more bees with honey than with vinegar? It's to the point of how nasty some of these ADOS people are. And I'm talking about the organization, not the lineage. When I'm not a speaker, when I'm not on stage, I go to your YouTube just to, engage on that side too. And these people are so nasty, and that's what turned people away. Even if they wanted to forgive her for the things she said about the ancestors and stuff like that, and not being on call and being out for serving her ego and having to be the head of something. They are so nasty and so condescending and stuff like that. How could you follow a movement like that? That's what turned people off to her. Like I said, I'm on YouTube, and this American lady is such a nasty lady. I really think it's Yvette Carnell's burner account because she is really cutting people up unnecessarily. And I ended on this. Dr. Clyde Anderson, he said, black people are exceptional people. Okay. I ended there because that's what it is. You have to speak life into people. You don't tear people down. We've been torn down for generations. It's about time somebody speak life. And I'm gonna stay on the listeners. Y'all have a good night. I'm not coming back on stage.
All right, thank you, Jess Cakes. Have a good night as well too. Reggie, did you want to say something before we get to Sister Sean?
Yeah, I can speak. I just didn't want to go out of turn if somebody's up next.
Well, no, you go ahead because we had the other speakers up here, so I want to get a new speaker in as well. We'll get to Sister Sean, but I want to. I know you left a few comments and stuff, and it's fine. You want to go ahead and speak? We'll let you get in it.
Okay, cool. So thanks for the invite. I wanted to just speak directly to the question: Is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant today in 2024? I think it's evidenced by the people in the room, and that it keeps coming up in conversation that the obvious answer to that is yes, whether people speak positively or negatively. Like the answer is yes. I mean, and I think that that's something that if we are going, and I'm just kind of speaking to the overall tone of the room, that if there is going to be, I guess, unity and commonality and language and messaging and tactics, that it has, that people just kind of have to deal with the fact that, lineage politics and specifically the language, American descendants of slavery, it's just woven itself into America's political consciousness around reparations in a way that you can't just whip out and say, I'm going to start over and do something else or go in a different direction just because I don't like the way that Yvette talks to me or that Yvette blocked me or, Reggie talks crazy like he knows everything. None of that takes the term ADOS out of the dictionary because American descendants of slavery is in the dictionary. It doesn't remove it from, peer-reviewed journals and, National Institute of Health. It doesn't take it out of, various papers. It doesn't take it out of publication. It doesn't take it out of the mouth, or it doesn't take it off of the city of Boston's website. The Reparations Task Force says we're looking for recommendations for descendants of slavery. It doesn't take it out of the off the lips of Senator Liz Miranda, who sponsored a bill in Massachusetts where she cited descendants of slavery. So I'm just saying all that to say that yes, indeed, it is relevant, and if and how we move forward collectively will be dependent on the extent to which people accept that that is the reality. That's just my opinion. And also in terms of relevance and reach, and this is just for the benefit of people in the room. Just because you don't see it online doesn't mean that it's happening. And one of the reasons, Newstoter, I wasn't ignoring your invitation, I was in a meeting, with the foundation. There's meetings and capacity being built and strategy for members all across the country. And I'm not being hyperbolic or bragging, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but I absolutely guarantee, and I can say with confidence, that every single person in this room, if you tell me what state you live in, I know that ADOS is there. And that the foundation is building capacity. And for those who want to do work, who want to get plugged in, the door is open for you. For the summit we're having down in New Orleans, there's no one being disinvited. Everybody's welcome to come. The space will be made for conversations to hash things out and come out with a common understanding. So for the people that are calling for unity, that door is open. You don't have to talk to Reggie. You don't have to talk to Yvette or other people you don't like. And I also just kind of want to say this. Some of this, and this applies to me too, because I have to walk this out when I move around the city and state. Like, just because somebody blocked you or said something crazy to you, if we're in the space, you're going to bump into somebody. And you're going to have to either keep that same energy or figure out a way to exist.
Yep.
Reinforcing depending on the spaces that we're in. So I guess the extent to which you can or can't unify, not saying that everybody has to be friends, but there can be unity on a basic level around a set of principles or a set of ideas or a set of call to action to where we can kind of all move forward. But in some ways, you just kind of got to get over yourself. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell people, but I'm just kind of responding to the moment that I'm seeing. But all in all, is ADOS and Yvette still relevant? Like I said, it's evidenced by the people in the room. It's evidenced by organizations and initiatives and people in government who specifically seek to keep ADOS out of the room, of course it's relevant. But thank you, Tota.
All right. Thank you, Reggie. Appreciate you coming up here tonight. Let me go ahead and get a new speaker. And I see OL Griffin up here. So let me go ahead and get OL up in here. OL, unmute your mic, and then I'm going to get the Sister Sean again. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
You're really, really low. Do you have a headset on anything? Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you with that head. You gotta take the headset off.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let me say this. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything, but there's some people in the room that Reggie is one of them. No taxation is another. My other account is no bullshit. Let me say this to you. When I tell people, as I used to call this your Yvette Carnell show, I don't do social media for fun.
It's really, really hard to hear. Is there any way you can crank that up louder?
Let me clean it up.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get to while we wait for OL, let me go ahead and get to is OL trying to clean it up right now? I don't know. You still there, OL? Okay. You may want to put it on mute. Let me get to Stilettos, and then I'll get to Sister Sean since she's a new speaker. Stilettos, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing now?
I'm fine, thank you. So thanks for having us here.
Oh, well, I'm going to come right back to you. I'm going to get the Stilettos, and I'll come right back to you.
Okay. Hi, I just was listening on and off. I wasn't really paying too much attention, but I did hear some information with regards to the state bill for reparations. We did a proposal to Brandy Fluker Oakley, who we've been meeting with quite a bit, and our bill is the American Freedmen Bill. That bill number is H3921, and we have full backing on it. The opposition bill, which is the Senate bill, is S1053, and that's Senator Miranda's bill. Both bills have American freedmen in them. Miranda's bill has an African-American / U.S. freedmen. And I've been diligently trying to get in touch with her office to have her change the verbiage to American freedmen. I don't know where she got U.S. freedmen from, other than the fact that we were working with the U.S. Freedmen Project when we first got here. When I first got back to Boston, and nobody consulted with me on it. So when we had the hearing on December 5th, there were stickers that were given to everybody who came into the room for the reparations bill, and it said reparations now vote to support H3921 and 1053. Those bills were combined, and they're currently sitting on the judicial committee, and those two bills are going to be merged together. And so right now they're testing the legality of the bills. And so because of the race-based initiatives being unconstitutional, the Miranda bill is not going to go through. So I know for a fact, because I was sitting in the room, Reggie was sitting not too far from me. He had his sticker on, everybody else had their sticker on, and both bills were being supported by everybody that testified. I was getting text messages throughout the meeting that, ADOS was in the room, okay, yeah, but the bottom line is everybody at the end of their statement was in support of both bills. The stickers that they had on wearing it nice on their shirts, whatever, said that. And both bills have, our bill has American freedmen in it, and their bill has African American / U.S. freedmen. So you guys can look the bills up. If I feel like it, I'll pull them up and put them in the chat for you. I'm just not sure what the confusion is. Everything was recorded. I was in the room. There's plenty of other people that were supporting American freedmen in the room also who had submitted their phone calls, their emails, and so I just really don't understand why that's a part of the conversation. That hearing took place on December 5th at the State House, and I don't know if anybody has any questions with that with it, but I was shocked myself that the agenda was to support both bills. I don't know if that came from Miranda's office, but when we got there, the pre-labeled stickers that support 3921 and 1053. So I don't know if Reggie remembers that, if he wants to talk about that, but I was in the room with him.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get too far off of the topic, because I know you guys talk about bills and stuff like that, so I don't want to get too far off the topic. Let me go ahead real quick and get back to OL Griffin, and then we'll work it back around the room. Like I said, we're not gonna keep this space going too much longer, but I do want to keep it focused on ADOS and Yvette as much as possible as well too. I know we're talking about bills and everything else, which is fine. But as long as we tie it back into the actual topic, I'm cool with that. But let me go ahead and get to OL Griffin, and then we'll move it around back to Sister Sean and Smooth and whoever else wants to speak real quick. Because like I say, I'm not trying to keep this space going too much longer. But go ahead, OL.
Yeah, I'm not going to take very long because in keeping with your question, is ADOS relevant? I was saying that some of the people in this room already know we go back 6, 7, 8 years when the discussion was how do we get reparations as a topic in American lexicon. So a lot of you that I hear squawking about what you've done over the last couple of years, I applaud you for joining on. But I'm going to say this again. Some people use social media to have exchange. I have used it exclusively to catalog my experience. And I did it because when I was fortunate enough to call into Yvette's show when Iron Man was her original co-host, the community called me Uncle O. They also made funny conversations about me as the old man that calls them drunk. So my point is, when you focus on the personal, you kind of get lost in what's really going on. And I'm going to say this to y'all. A lot of the people that left ADOS also moved out to California and talked about reparations. But the defining point is going to be when you all determine how to truly define reparations and then stop doing these personality clashes. Because I'm 70 years old. I have nothing to lose by being honest and telling you. You have the wisdom and the ability, but I doubt that very many of you have the discipline. And if you're insulted by that, look at yourself, not me. Taxpayers' money taught me that this is important. Stop being swayed by personalities. They killed us with personalities. Barack Obama, I couldn't even talk to my mother for 6 or 7 years because when she first made me sit down and watch him on Oprah, and she was talking about how good it would be, I told her it's nothing but a stand. He ain't even one of us. So I've had that conversation about delineation in my immediate family. Woman that person. Stop with the personality classes. Y'all gonna have to start looking at some facts. And if you want to, inbox me, and I can tell you, as far as this thing over knocking and InCobra, I have the original tweet from Conrad Worrell, who one of these young ladies talks about so much, when they devised a plan called, and you can look this hashtag up, hashtag ADOS exposed. That was the public bomb that exposed what was going on behind the scenes for 2 years when Roland Martin, Joy Reid, Brianna Gray, when she was at the Intercept, labeled ADOS box. I document and keep receipts. I don't do a lot of opinions in public. Y'all should focus more on that. Much love to you people.
All right. Appreciate that real quick. Let me go ahead and get to Sister Sean Roz. I see you up here. If you want to speak, Roz, get your hand up here and I'll get you up here too. You're a new speaker, so I definitely want to hear what you got to say. If you want to speak, Roz, just put your hand up after Sister Sean. Like I said, we ain't gonna keep it going too much longer as well. Sister Sean, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, yeah, thank you for this second round. I'm gonna be quick. I just want to say that everything I sat there and listened to Rella about 3 speakers ago. I am 100% behind everything she said. And just to bring it back to the conversation, in a sense, we're literally all Pan-Africanists. But the point that she was making was that, yeah, you took us to a certain level, but how about bringing us to the finish line? And that has not happened. That has not been demonstrated. And we have demonstrated Pan-Africanism, been there, done that. Now we're delineating.
And the problem is now that we're delineating, why are you trying to reel us back or hold us back? You're keeping us from that finish line. And that has to be fundamentally understood and spoken out loud about. Because there's nothing in whatever we call ourselves, I'm a Negro freedman. There's nothing in our history that I know where we have ever went against any movement for the elevation of the African. I mean, we fundamentally respect that. And now that it's our time, okay, you can cite, people can do stuff, articles and do this and do that. So, but the articles are really, once you uncover and peel back the layers, it's do nothing. It's announcements. So now that you've made the announcement, now we answered the call. And so now that we answer the call, don't hold us back. So that's what I really want to put out, this whole Pan-African thing. We've never been against Africans. Africans started attacking us out of nowhere. And we were literally in shock. We worked for the South African apartheid. We protested. We did everything for Africans and everybody else. And it not just African, all immigrants. And we see how that's keeping us with these open borders. Jesse Jackson and the Rainbow Coalition, and Al Sharpton pushed down our throat this black and brown stuff. That stuff was never, we always supported all that stuff. But let me tell you, what they did was they miscalculated. I believe they thought that they could anchor themselves by bringing in this brown and all this stuff because they understood the fundamental hatred the white man had for us. And they thought that these people were going to be our allies. But that's further from the truth. These people are the biggest anti-black, reverse, and they're self-aggregated. They care nothing about themselves and their groups. So everything that Dr. Claude Anderson was completely true. He warned us about self-ethno-aggregating, and he told us to do it at the same time. We've been there, done that. We really don't want to hear about the Pan-African thing at this time. And I really resent anybody that tried to make me feel shame, okay? Until you all show some reciprocity, some give back. We've already given. We've already given. Show me what you're going to give me. Give me back by supporting our lineage-based reparations. And I'll fold my chair.
All right. Appreciate that. We got a speaker trying to come up here real quick, guys. I may drop one of the speakers down here and bring somebody up. Does anybody want to drop down? If you're in the speaker section, you're not going to speak, you automatically drop. You can drop down or whatever. We're trying to make room for one more speaker. Like I said, we're not going to go too much longer. Let me see who's up here that spoke that may want to drop down. Oh, we got Roz. Who just said that? I'm not sure. OL. Okay, OL, you say drop you down? Okay. Roz was up here, and Roz, you was up here, but I know you left a second ago, so I'll try to get you back up here. Do we got anybody? Okay, so we got the spaces open. All right. Let me go ahead and get Naheem. Let me get Naheem in here, and I'll get a Pia. Anybody else that wants to speak? Like I said, we ain't trying to keep this thing that open. Definitely for those that can support on Cash App, $, Newstoter, $, Newstoter. I know we ain't got much love tonight, but Newstoter is still the largest black-owned news media curation platform today in America, largest black-owned American news media curation platform, and we need your support to stay afloat. Pat, I'm not doing it tonight, bro. I'm not doing it tonight. Straight up, Pat. I'm not doing it. Go ahead, Naheem. You got it.
Peace. What's going on? Newstoter DJ, what's good? Shout out to the reparationists.
What's up now?
What's going on, man? Reparations is relevant. Reparations is relevant, and I think that, and this is my opinion, because I listened to some people come up and they talked about some things that they were doing or claimed to be doing
in their states. And then I heard people come up and say what was actually going on. And, they kind of got cut off. And then other people came up talking a bunch of stuff that they have nothing to do with the topic at all. So I just really wanted to come up here and say, I'm not up here to, talk about who's relevant or who's irrelevant. But I want people to keep the focus. And I do understand that that's the topic space. And usually when I come into a space and I grab a mic, I'm on topic, or I will not grab the mic. But I did want to say that reparations is relevant. And reparations drove a group of us together. And in that, we started rocking with each other, even with the ADOS movement. I remember a brother from South Carolina was like, yo, you got to check this movement. You got like, wow, it's a hashtag. And I'm like, I don't do VADs and all of that, bro. I said, you should know that by now. He was like, nah, they talking reparations. They say a lot of the things that I hear you breaking down on Morris Science Radio. I'm like, I just didn't want to hear it. Then I listened, and then I started to meet great people from all over the country, people that was actually about doing work. And we're working with a handful of those people, and work is getting done. So I really just came up here, man, to give a shout out to all of the people that continue on doing the work, who did not get caught up in the cult of personality. I'm glad a lot of people don't like me. So I don't have to have a personality code. I actually love that shit, to keep it official with you. So now the only is just simply that we're getting work done. So shout out to everybody that's doing the work. Shout out Newstoter, Sister Roz, Brother Divine, Brother Ian, my sisters, stilettos on the ground, of course, Brother Jonathan, BTP, United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, DMV Freedmen, to that's the one or two of y'all. Shout out to y'all too. Shout out to everybody that's doing this work. That's all I got. Peace.
Peace. Appreciate that. Roz, is Roz still up here? Because Roz, you keep having connection issues. You up here and then I see you disconnect. And you want to try to go ahead and get it in real quick? Because I know it looks like you're having some connection issues.
Hello, can you hear me, Brother Newstoter?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Yeah, I apologize for
yeah. You sound like you're in the Matrix right now.
I'm in the Matrix.
I can hear you straight now. I can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, you're gonna have to drop. You're gonna have to drop back down, Roz, because you still in the Matrix. Yeah, drop down and we'll get you back. Let me go ahead and get to Lineage. Lineage, go ahead and unmute your mic. Let me give a shout out real quick to Felicia too for her contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get the Lineage. Lineage, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Can you hear me on my Matrix too?
No, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so I just wanted to come up and say, to the topic, I want to stay on topic. And so the question is, ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant today in 2024? So given the actual definition of relevant, which means closely connected or appropriate to what is being done or considered, I would have to say yes, right? So yes, there is a level of relevancy. But to that same point and by that same definition, NARC is relevant. InCobra is relevant. All the Pan-African organizations, all the people that are oppositional to our position, they are also relevant. Because when you break down famous and infamous, there is little difference between the definition. It just means known by a lot of people. The issue is, what are you known for? And so with this question being posed in the way it is, she's relevant, and the hashtag of ADOS is relevant, but what are they relevant for? And that is an entirely different conversation than the one that we're having in regards to reparations work and actual advocacy for reparations work. And there was a brother that was up here earlier. I think his name was Ricky, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't going to come up, but after Reggie came up and a couple other people came up, I was definitely felt like there needed to be some clarification. And one of the points of clarification is what Ricky said. Ricky said, and a lot of the ADOS members and the vet followers, they use the term splinter groups. if there's only one thing you take away from everything I say tonight, I need you to understand that this term of splinter is what almost ensures that there will never be true unity with the ADOS Foundation group. Because the Advocacy Foundation doesn't get started until 2020. All of the groups and all of the people that are still doing work happened before 2020. But it is this group's ideology, it is this group's belief that if you ever watched an Yvette Carnell video, all of the advocacy that you have ever done is a part of their camp. And that is a faulty premise with which to then try to say we need to unite, because you're not standing on any real work that you've done. Because when we look for the real work that you've done, it comes out like Reggie said, just because you don't see it don't mean it's not being done. But that has been their tagline since before 2020. And so again, relevant, but relevant for what? Yvette Carnell is a master communicator, in my opinion. And so as long as people will interview her and allow her to speak and articulate the justice claim, I think that she'll be relevant, and relevant in a very good way. She articulates it like almost no other, in my opinion. But as far as actual advocacy, policy, because that's something that I think Ricky said as well, policy. As far as policy is concerned, locally and or nationally, none has come out of that advocacy foundation. None. And so Reggie came up and said, oh, I guarantee if you say a city or state, we got some people there. Yeah, there's people there. Let's talk about New York, because I'm in New York. There's people here, but what are they doing? Nothing. So just having people in an area and calling yourself an advocacy foundation does not mean advocacy gets done. And I know that because our organization is the premier reparations organization in New York. And that's a humble brag. And it's a humble brag because as the organization that is pushing, the only organization pushing lineage-based reparations in New York, we have worked with everybody, regardless of whatever delineating term you use, whatever camp you came from. If you love or hate Dr. Claude Edison, if you love or hate Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, if you follow Tariq, if you follow B1, if you're just a regular Black American that wants reparations, you don't know nothing about what's going on online. We have worked with everybody, except the ADOS people. And so when you think about what they stand for and the ideology with which they govern themselves, I don't see a path forward without a huge ideology, a paradigm shift in thinking to respect the work that others have done, respect the work that others are doing, and totally reject this idea that because the people that are actually doing the real work had a conversation with Yvette, maybe met Yvette in person, watched one of Yvette's videos or one of Tone's videos, that everything that they do that's good, you get to take credit for, and everything that doesn't work out or doesn't go the way you think it does, or it doesn't happen perfectly, is the result of a splinter, and that's what's really destroying the movement. It's BS. I won't curse on your stage. It's BS. And unfortunately, that is the ideology that runs their particular organization and their group and their people, and it comes from the top. And I'll land on this because now we've seen the olive branch, and I've commented on that as well, saying fake calls for unity are no calls for unity at all. And so as someone that went to the second event, they had two reparations forums. I didn't make the first one, but I went to the second one in good faith. In good faith. We had already decided that we're not going to join their organization. We're not going to work with them for leadership differences, but it was still, hey, you know what? It's a reparations event. We're pushing reparations. Let's go. Let's see if we can actually have some conversation. At that point in time, I still was cool with some of the people that was in the org, even though we had a difference of opinion. And I'm saying this to say this. For all of you that are thinking about going to this one in October in New Orleans, I would say go at your own risk. Not physical risk, so I'm not going to go there and say that, but to just Cake's point. When she said, man, I'm on YouTube and some of them are some of the nastiest people I ever met, I can tell you firsthand, and I saw Reggie at that second event. What I will tell you is that when you are not one of them, you feel it. The treatment, the looks, the sneers, the jeers. So we're going above and beyond blocks. So they love talking about, oh, you just hurt because you're blocked. No, when you're in person, you feel it. And they let you know that you are not one of them. Now, will that change for October? I have no idea. But what I will tell you is I experienced it. I saw it firsthand because I was not one of them. And you will too, unless they've changed in a major way, which I doubt. And so again, I will say go at your own risk. I do not see this as a sincere call for unity. I see it as we were unable to do it for ourselves or by ourselves as an advocacy foundation. So I need y'all. But again, it wasn't, if you listen to what she said, it wasn't, okay, I need y'all and I'm looking to meet y'all where you're at and let's find a way to come together. It's, okay, I need y'all to come join ADOS. And you hear and see that from their members as well. When you hear them talk of unity, they talk about when you're just going to eventually join, when you're going to put all that stuff to the side and join. And that's the issue that I have with them, and that's just my first-hand account. Thank you for the space.
All right, appreciate that. Smooth, I'm going to let you go ahead, and then I'm going to get to you, Roz. I know you've been having some connection issues. Let me give a shout-out to 400 as well for his contribution on Cash App. We're going to try to get through this. We're going to go to Smooth, Roz, no taxation, and then we're going to probably go ahead and close it for the night. I see next election Negro. If you want to speak, raise your hand, and I'll get you in here too as well. I know you came up here. So if you want to speak, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll get to you as well, because we ain't going to be in here too much longer. I know I said that like 40 minutes ago, but I mean it this time. Go ahead, Smooth. You got it.
Yeah, I sat back and I thought about it, and I'm not going to leave it on bad notes. So I'm going to go ahead and get ADOS as props, because without ADOS, you know, a lot of the movement wouldn't happen. So to the founder of it, to the person who created it, I want to give that brother, Dr. Noor Selden, his props, because without him, you would have no ADOS. I'm going to give that brother a shout out. With that, I'll land.
All right. Appreciate you tonight, Smooth. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Roz. Roz, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right. Can you hear me now, brother?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, I'm standing right by the router. So I just wanted to give peace and greetings to everybody in the room. I just heard things and I apologize for coming in so late. Sometimes writing up these IEPs will do that for you. But I did want to comment on something. I think my sister Just Cakes had come in about half an hour ago or so. Shout out to Chicago and shout out to my brother Divine that just spoke. But I just definitely want to say this, to speak to your question, is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant today in 2024? For me and my organization and members, no, because we really don't. And as we did before, we're doing the same work that we started doing in 2019, March 2019, is we advocate for our people in our community. That's what we've always been doing as the DMV Freedmen at this point in time. Now, when we had a different nomenclature and we were working, we set everything up independently. We didn't have helpers coming in and gathering people together. We did that independently. Now, when I hear work being talked about, like we were at the Supreme Court, yeah, we organized that. that was the group then that organized that event here. That was independent. It wasn't what you consider the ADOS Foundation members today. Maybe one of the members, I don't know, shout out to Aisha for taking pictures that we were working on and we organized over to the foundation and claiming that. It's like claim jumper. And we organized HR 40 in 2019. That was something where the hall was packed talking about reparations. And Dr. Garrity should have been there, but I believe he was in Alabama or Mississippi with one of the rappers. But we organized that also. And then I think, Brother Divine, I think you're incorrect in saying 2020, because definitely it wasn't organized. The ADOS Foundation was not organized until about 2021 or 2022. 2020 was when the question was asked if a foundation should be started, and it was internal, and that was in that fall. And people were saying yes or no, or however they wanted to do it. I was like, well, we're just already doing what we're doing here in the DMV. So for those of us who have continued on the work, who are being called, I don't understand how you can be a splinter group when you actually, someone mentioned in the chat, there were 5 chapters of ADOS.
Hey, Roz, we don't hear you anymore. Are you there? Hey, Roz, are you there? I think Roz, she's been having connection issues all night. So, okay, Roz, I guess we'll try to get back to you before this space is over. She's disconnecting. Let me go ahead and get to let me see if I can get Roz real quick up here to finish her point. Then we're gonna move on. Roz, can you hear me? Hey, Roz,
Yeah, brother, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I'm gonna go ahead and let you finish it up, and then we're gonna go to the next speaker.
Let me hurry up and land. When we left at the beginning of 2021, this was January 2021 or so, there were 36 chapters of ADOS, and pretty much most of us had decided to continue on the work. Not to, Yvette was very upset about us using the name, so we decided to change our name, and it became a project of hers and Antonio Moore's instead of our Lineage, and it was very confusing. So we decided to not be involved in any of that confusion. I don't understand how you can be a splinter group when we were well established long before she got established with her advocacy foundation. And people in her organization who have been there for quite a number of years, shout out Reggie, you know that, brother. We were already established when you came and we first met in 2019 at the HR 40 hearing, okay? So don't tell, it's like it's unfortunate people are being fed misinformation as, oh, well, these people are splinters. No, sweetie, we were organized well before that, and you know it. So I don't like the lies. I don't like the deception. I think our people need to be taught the truth. And that's all I say. I'll land on that. Thank you for letting me speak again.
Okay. Thank you. I think no taxation was next. You there, no taxation?
Yeah. Can I go after a couple more people go, please, if you don't mind?
All right. Let me go ahead and get to next election. Next election, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah. What's up to the room? Just to stick to the title of address the title of the room, I would say yes, ADOS and Yvette is irrelevant to the reparation movement of today. And going back, without them, it wouldn't be, put it this way, without her and the ADOS movement, you wouldn't have people in organizations and in cliques today. You wouldn't have no Freemans, you wouldn't have that nasty, situation, and you wouldn't have any other organization without having Yvette and Antonio Moore. So to answer the question, yes, we need them to be involved in today's 2024 reparation. I'll land with that.
All right. Thank you. Let me get to it's Gabo. It's Capo. I'm sorry. What, I know I'm saying your name wrong. It's Capo. It's who now?
It's Guapo.
Guapo. My bad.
Guapo, yeah. Shout out to the co-host and everybody in the room. But I just want to speak on the subject. is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant? I mean, most likely I would probably say yeah. You know, she is, but I don't really agree with a lot of stuff that she says. I mean, there's a lot of things that came out of that camp. I'm not gonna take away things that she has done, but I do know that, you know, some of her ideologies that she has, you know, and the things that go on with her personal life or whatever. But, you know, I just want to know, like, what is she trying to do for us as a whole? I mean, once we know everything that we know about her, I mean, what are we trying to do with her? Is she going to, you know, jump back up on the reparations campaign again? I mean, are they going to clean that stuff up, what they had over there in ADOS? You know, because if she ain't going to do none of that, then, I mean, what do we need you for? We don't need no more people coming in here trying to, you know, sell us game or tell us something, you know. I mean, if you're going to get out here and fight for us, then do that. But, you know, everything that was going on, I felt like she should have cleaned that up before. All that could have stayed in house and it could have got cleaned up. But I'm going to lay my plane there, man.
All right.
Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem. Appreciate you. Naheem, go ahead. You got it. I saw you came back up. I'm going to let you go, and then I'll let...
I definitely had to address what the person before last I said, just briefly, because I want people to understand, first and foremost, Freedmen is not a group that formed online. It is not a hashtag. It is not an organization.
Real quick, Naheem, because I want to add this comment too that I saw from YouTube. American Lady said that you watched all of Yvette and Tone's that live streams, and then you started streaming it on your channel, and you stole the content and formed the Freedmen org. So I just wanted to let you know they said that.
Excellent. That's an excellent segue into what I was already going to say. Whoever that person is a liar. But she got one thing correct, that I did watch a lot of their content because I wanted to make sure that what they were saying was on point before my team and I got involved with this nationwide movement. And I've admitted to that on several lives. Like, I don't, just because we have a beef or issue with Yvette Carnell and what I call her simp sidekick, Antonio Moore, and the rest of these guys like Reggie, etc. I mean, I don't hate nobody, and I keep it official. And the fact of the matter is, when we came on the scene as Be the Power, before we even started going in on the YouTube, when we came on the scene in 2019, I was still in my feds, dropping information in conjunction with a lot of what they was teaching because I was already teaching that. And I just want to make that clear. This is why, as I said earlier, the brother reached out to me and said, Joe, they say a lot of things that you say on Moorish Science Radio. I was one of the only brothers in the Moorish movement that was pushing for reparations. To Michael.
That might be no taxation, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the brother got up and said there would be no freedmen without ADOS. That's wrong. We are free because we bear the status of our ancestors. In 2020, my team and I, after doing intense study, we realized that this term freedman was the term that we should be using. But at the time, the ADOS movement was popular. So instead of creating a rift, what we did, and this is an actual fact, we created an organization in 2020, 4 years ago, called United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen. And we sought to push the advocacy through that and the education through that organization. My team and I, some of us been building since 2009. We're not a group that just got together. The least of us outside of Brother Ibrahim, and when I say least, I'm talking about building-wise, been building since at least 10 years ago. 10 years ago, right? So I say all that to say that American freedmen is a term that we will call in this country so that the abolitionists, etc., can recognize our manhood. Freedmen is a political status, and I have to stress for people that keep saying, like Homegirl said, I stole Yvette. We didn't steal anything from Yvette Carnell. Everybody was rocking together. And one of the things that a lot of people do not know is that when you're teaching information, if a person is astute, they are going to take that information and utilize it themselves because it's correct for the movement. Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore used a lot of what we taught on Be the Power. But because their streams were in the thousands and ours was 200 and 300 at the time, who would know that, right? But we know because we were in the movement together as one movement. Now you get this, we stole this. So if that's the case, it's like Dame Dash said. Like Hove said about Dame Dash. You said you made Hove, make another Hove. Make another BTP. In fact, do what BTP and United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen is doing. And that's for anybody that wants to carry on that line. So, yes, and I'm going to close with this. There was cross-pollination of information. There was things that we brought out about our citizenship here, etc., that you start to see people in that group start to pick up on because they did not know that. Dr. Darity and our brother, the director of history and research for United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, our brother Ali, co-wrote a paper that was supposed to get a peer review, but them crackers and the higher ups didn't want to peer review the paper in the way that you're supposed to peer review it because they did not want to acknowledge that our people were citizens in this country from day one. We came into this movement with information. We came into this movement as big dogs. We came into this movement as leaders ourselves. And notice, we're still leading. And that's why so many people hate on us. And they will continue to hate. So with that, I say peace, peace.
All right, peace. I'm gonna let No Taxation Lineage. I know you got your hand up, but I'm gonna let No Taxation speak, and then we're gonna close this thing out for the night. Go ahead, No Taxation. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes, and then we out.
Okay. I wish I was able to come in the beginning, but I sure did catch a lot of it. Let me just ask you this question. Hello to everybody in the room, and I hope everybody is well. Let me just ask you this question, Newstoter. Did somebody extend an olive branch or something today?
No, it's just a conversation.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe something had changed dramatically, but ain't no earthquakes and stuff. Is ADOS and Yvette Carnell still relevant today in 2024? And someone spoke before and said something to the point of relevancy. So there's a certain relevance there, but it's not much. And that and they didn't say it this way, but she shot herself in the foot. And it happens. It happens. So in that way, in 2024, no. But I will say this: ADOS and Yvette Carnell in particular, but the ADOS people at that time, OG, Marty, I'm going back now, hear me. This was when Shirley Hussar was still alive, Black Republican out there in California. She's deceased right now. God bless the dead. Shirley Hussar was the one that told me about Yvette Carnell. And I really wanted at that time, we're going back 2017, right? I wanted at that time, I was like, wow, she'd be a great mouthpiece, for the Hill, because, you can't beat her at her wordplay. She has a good game. She can run her mouth back. But that was at a time when she was just starting out, that kind of thing.
Hold on 1 second. No Taxation. Mark, I see you requesting to come up here and speak, but we're going to let No Taxation be the last speaker, and we're going to close it out for the night. Go ahead, No Taxation.
And I haven't heard her in a while, but I will say this. There's two things I want to say. Yvette Carnell did something that was great for the movement, which was she sparked interest, ignited interest in people that needed to be interested in it. Okay, and she gave good political education. Had she stayed there, she could have taught for generations and political education for generations because she was good at it. But she didn't do that. She got out of her lane, and this is what we have now. And I'm going to say this about that ADOS movement. And some people here know, and some don't. It doesn't matter. But back in the day, around 2017, 18, 19, when I was getting ready for the Trump administration, during the Obama administration, I was taking Dr. Darity to the Hill. And ADOS, which was before the hashtag, the hashtag had just started, Digital System. Remember, Monty came after it. That was before Harvard came after it. But her name was Mud, and I didn't know it. In a lot of Democratic circles, and I don't run in Democratic circles, so that didn't really bother me. But it had leaked over to the Republican side, and I could not say the word or the acronym ADOS if I wanted to be getting anything done. And so that let me know that all of that ugliness that they spread, if you're not careful, they'll close the door on you, okay? And you won't get in the room. And at that time, I would have liked for Darity to have a seat at the table. And he even said to me, and we going years back, he even said to me, he said, can we get out of Yvette? I said, I don't know. What does she do besides YouTube? He said, that's what she does. I said, maybe we can get her standing room only. Now, that's a fact. And I still stand on that, even though Yvette probably hates my guts. That's okay. I just wish that she had started out with. I think the movement would have been further along if that had happened, and people didn't take such a vile view of other black people. You can't say that you try to help black people and then treat them like shit and talk about them like, and talk about them like a dog. You just can't do it and think you're going to open doors. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate you, No Taxation. I appreciate everybody coming up to speak tonight, guys. The space went up a little bit longer than what I anticipated, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut this thing down for the night, and we'll be back maybe Thursday. I'm not entirely sure, guys, but everybody have a good night. Peace, and we'll see y'all.